Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Is there a bigger story from the NBA draft, than what are the Pelicans doing? Not that it is a chief story, but what are the Pelicans doing? The Pelicans have not been a relevant franchise their entire time in the league. They have spoiled and soured whatever it is that Zion Williamson was supposed to be, and one of their best runs in terms of leadership is when David Griffin brought his credibility there, and he has since been fired. Stan Van Gundy also gone. Don't know what that franchise is doing. Don't know if anyone cares.
Look, Joe Dumars comes in, and he's got an edict to kind of like fix this thing, but not trade Zion, I guess, because he's come in and he's kind of thrown his support behind Zion Williamson. And draft day, let me just say, put it this way. It was confusing trying to figure out what they were trying to do on draft day because, for one, they gave up a lot, I felt, to move up to the 10 pick, to the pick where they took Derek Queen, right? Which, it's not lost upon me. That name is incredibly close to Dairy Queen. But they gave up an unprotected first-round pick next year, which is a very, very bold statement, right? In the NBA, when you trade your unprotected future first-round pick for any future.
And you're bad.
Well, let's just say any future, no matter who you are. The bet you're saying is, I bet you this guy's going to be so good, it won't even matter. By the time that pick happens, it'll be something that we're okay with giving up with because this guy is so good. But the Pelicans are awful. They don't have an identity. They're in flux. The roster isn't clear. And they traded next year's first-round pick. So, in essence, you're basically saying, oh, no, right now, this pick right now is going to change everything. So then you say, okay, well, who'd you got? You got Cooper Flagg, right? You got like a transformational player. You got Derek Queen, a guy who a lot of people like, has a lot of talent, but kind of if you read the scouting report, it's almost like we're talking about Zion Williamson. Hey, conditioning is an issue. Hey, he's really skilled, but is he a 4? Is he a 5? Everything you see about him is like, wait a second, we already have one of those. So now we got two guys who we don't know what position they play, and they can't shoot well enough, and they're the conditioning is an issue, and we're betting that right away it's going to be perfect. This pick isn't going to be any good to where unprotected status is an issue.
You figured that if they would have offered protection status on the pick, Atlanta still would have said yes at some point, right? And you look at Derek Queen and what he's able to provide.
It really does sound like
That's
Derek
crazy.
Queen.
Yeah,
it really does.
DQ, can I come DQ? Does that work?
Kinda hungry right now.
Dairy Queen has to sponsor the Pelicans, has to sponsor.
I have no choice.
I want other names in sports that give off restaurants. I'll get back to you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one, Chris.
You look at his skill set, though, and it's basically just a less athletic Zion Williamson. So now you've got Dairy Queen running out there, and you've got Zion Williamson who wants Dairy Queen running out there at the same time. The spacing is going to be weird. They both kind of can't shoot. The team is weird in general, and then you give up probably the most coveted asset of the next year's draft for 10 spots from 23 to 13 to pick a guy who you have already, and then you're going to trade Zion Williamson this year?
Dairy Queen playing at the Smoothie King Center.
Oh, boy.
Synchronicity. It's perfect. He has no choice.
Can I ask a question here? If the most interesting story from your draft is about the Pelicans, you had an uninteresting draft, right?
No, the most interesting story, that the mainstream people talk about. Cooper Flag went 1. Wow, that's amazing. And then
Ace Bailey's a good story.
Ace Bailey going to the Jazz despite him not wanting to go to the Jazz. I mean, there are other things, but Dan asked me a basketball question. I answered like a basketball guy.
I did ask you that question because I am trying to figure out, again, 3 shows in 24 hours, and I'm explaining to the audience why it is that I'm not as informed as I need to be on the NBA draft. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that the draft in general, all the drafts, are meat markets that I find a bit offensive on how it is the owners figure out how to control themselves by fixing the costs and then just turning these all into auctions. Don't like them as entertainment, and don't like the information that comes out after them because so many people are guessing. But more so than ever in basketball, when I got all these people telling me how good the Heat's draft pick is, when so many of us have not watched the Heat's draft pick, and I just asked Amin before the show, how do I pronounce this person's name, and didn't have confidence in the way he pronounced it.
No, I pronounced it right.
Again, I'm not blaming you. You got it right.
Yeah.
You got it right. I didn't have confidence in the way that you pronounced it. But as we go all over the world now, something that was already subjective becomes this, okay? Because I know Bill Simmons is saying the Pelicans making that pick, that's one of the 5 dumbest trades of this decade. But Jake Fisher is getting roasted because after the Blazers picked Yang Hansen from China, a Nuggets source texted me, Chinese Jokic.
They took him out of the stands, Dan. He was in the stands with the commoners. They didn't even put him on the floor. He walked out with his white suit on.
I'm saying if it was unknown before, that if the draft was a subjective stupidity before that confounds even the executives who run the Pelicans and the executives who get fired for this subjective thing that we treat as science, how much more arbitrary is it now that you're grabbing an assortment of players, because there are more foreign players now than there have ever been, that literally no one who's watching the draft has seen play at all?
Yeah, so, all right, it's always dangerous when people make these kind of player comps before the draft. One of the most famous ones ever, there was a draft website back in the day that had Deshaun Stevenson's player comp as Michael Jordan. So
What?
This is real. You can look it up. And so, but this is the danger you get in Yang Hansen, or Hansen Yang, however you pronounce his name. He's basically 20 years old. He turns 20 today. Just turned 20 today, right? Played in China professionally, but we know that playing professionally in China has kind of certain boosters to it that you might look a lot better than you actually are. In the way that
Stephon Marbury goes over there and scores 90 points a game. Yeah. If that's what you mean by certain boosters.
Boosters, I mean, Marbury is a bad example. A better example is like Emmanuel Mudiay is a dominant player, like stuff like that, right? So there's a lot of questions. Whenever people make these comps, I always go back to, wait a second, do you remember what this guy was like in the draft, right? Jokic was coming from playing high-level basketball in Serbia. This guy's coming from China, right? And that's not to say he can't play, whatever. I'm just saying when you make these comps, they're dangerous. In the same way that Jeremy was trying to tell me about the Heat draft pick. Oh, this guy's Dragic. I'm like, Jakučionis is defined as a 6'6" guy with questionable athleticism, right? Dragic was an out-of-the-gym athlete. Front to back, side to side, vertically, right? He was an incredible athlete. So it's like, the comp we're making here is, in this case, 2 international white guys. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what you get in a lot of scouting reports, because the scouting reports on Kasparas Jakučionis were Austin Reeves and Goran Dragic, who I don't know if you guys know this, not the same player.
No. I mean, the only thing all 3 of them have in common is they're
and I understand why we do this.
But he is Goran Dragic.
Over the last couple of days, we have had people saying a number of different opinions about how stupid it is that the Miami Heat wouldn't trade Jovic for Kevin Durant. And when he got to the league, the Miami Heat's assessment of him is he could be Danilo Gallinari, which is a very nice NBA player and also someone you would trade for Kevin Durant if he becomes Danilo Gallinari. We like to do this with the unknown. This thing that we're presently watching is more unknown than it's ever been because of the number of foreign players in the draft, but I do want to check in with a couple of the highlights from last night. Now, this is before last night. I know a lot of people have been pointing out the viral tweet that the NHL has Wayne Gretzky on its broadcasts and ESPN has Kendrick Perkins. And there's a bit of a difference, obviously, in terms of stature from Wayne Gretzky to Kendrick Perkins. But Kendrick Perkins is there because he says things, and it doesn't matter what they are. He just says things like this about Cooper Flagg.
This is how I look at Cooper Flagg. If LeBron James and Kevin Garnett had a baby, you get Cooper Flagg. And why I say that is because when you think about LeBron.
Let me ask you a question. Is Wayne Gretzky good, or is he just Wayne Gretzky on the broadcast? I don't know.
He is not good as a broadcaster. He's gotten better over the years, but he is pretty boring.
He's Wayne Gretzky.
That's right.
So
but he's doing the same thing that Tom Brady's doing, that they're going to pay Michael Jordan to do now.
Yeah, he was like Magic. When Magic did TV, Magic was incredibly boring and obvious with all of his analysis, which is crazy because you think to yourself, this Magic Johnson, one of the smartest players ever played. And my theory on that, Dan, is if everything was child's play to you, how would you know what's difficult needs to be explained, and how would you know what's not?
I know 2 stories involving Magic Johnson thinking the rest of life would come easy for him, and it did not. One of the stories, read for me how long he lasted as Lakers coach, because the famous story of Magic becoming Lakers coach is that one day in a meeting he got frustrated, and I think his career lasted like 11 games or 11 days, something ridiculous like that.
Pretty short.
Vlade Divac, this is how old this story is.
Yeah.
Vlade Divac's beeper went off while he was giving a speech, and Magic took it and threw it against the wall.
Yeah.
There are people listening to this who don't even know what a beeper is, correct?
16 games Magic lasted.
As long as the Magic Hour.
Well, this is what I was going to say was my second point. He also had a late-night television show, and it really is a celebration of famous and do you smile well, because he's simply charming. They gave him a late-night show. The ESPN just gave one to Jason Kelsey, as if it doesn't take monster talent to host a late-night show. How long did that last? How long did the Magic Hour last? Talk about cutting the line based on just fame and charisma. He had 16 games as Lakers head coach. That's a pretty good job. Late night television. Those are hard jobs to get.
From June 8th to September 4th.
So the coaching.
I'm not one to talk as
I was gonna
That was
say,
1998, by
as
the way.
the host
1998.
of the Art of Conversation. I can't say very much.
It beats you.
But mine wasn't a daily show. And mine wasn't earned on fame and charm. It was just that I worked at ESPN.
And a smile. You don't have those either.
Don't have anything that makes me
You got
likable.
eyebrows, though.
I do have eyebrows, but nothing
That
that
gets
makes
people.
Nothing that makes me likable. Nothing. I don't know
fame.
how to be likable.
You got
I don't know how
fame.
to do it.
Dan's got fame. Right, guys? Dan's got
He's famous. Yeah. Ballers.
Eyebrows.
Yeah.
He
What's
used
the
to
end
be.
game?
Yeah, eyebrows.
Dairy Queen is going to be tough to beat, boys.
Well, find others though, but like Lanny McDonald.
Tony Romo's.
Oh, there you go. He's warming up.
That's really good.
Wait, are they still around? Is Tony Roma still
On
around?
this list that I'm looking at of chain
There
restaurants,
cannot be a
it's still
Tony
around.
Roma still around. There's no
No,
way.
there has to be one. There have to be a couple of Tony Romas. Look,
I'm
Tony
on it.
Roma's is where I had my first drinks.
Oh.
Yes, they
place for ribs.
They had live music at a place for ribs. It will surprise no one that I was going to live music where they had ribs in college.
KFC J. Stroud.
Okay, all right. A little stretch.
Fine
Armstrong,
for me
but I'm
whether
with you.
Tony Roma's. I believe is there still one in South Florida?
There is none in Florida, Dan. We're looking at here 86 restaurants worldwide, with only 10 remaining in the United States. The
Wait a
chain
minute.
peaked at over 190
Wait a minute.
locations.
Hold on. You mean that internationally Tony Roma's is big? It's huge. It's bigger than it is in the United States. You said
76 restaurants around the world.
where? Tell me where.
We're
Look,
pulling
Look
up
at
a
that
map right now,
The
Dan.
map's
Look
on
at
the
that.
screen.
please tell me.
In Sydney.
That's not Sydney.
Please tell me that
Melbourne.
the Chinese Jokic has a Tony Roma's that he was going to. Tell me where else. Tell me where else
Brisbane.
there are Tony Roma's anywhere in the world.
There's one in Bangladesh, Japan. There are actually there are 6 Tony Romas in Japan.
How about that? Chili's Davis.
There's one in the middle of the ocean right there, Dan. Look at that.
Duncan
Incredible.
Robinson.
That was no good.
That's how you say his name. I mean, it's just the best one yet, you could argue.
Chili's Davis is pretty good.
There's one in Curacao.
I have been told that Colombia has the fanciest Tony Romas you have ever seen.
Wow.
They got the fanciest everything, don't they?
But make sure you check out the ones in Germany, El Salvador, the Dominican Republic, and Chile.
Que lo que?
Brooks Reed played live music on Thursday nights, and it's how I was introduced to the Long Island iced tea.
Guam
Brooks.
and Guatemala.
Those ribs can't be good. Roy said threw in there Tony Roma's good ribs. They can't be good.
It's the place for ribs. That was the slogan.
Indonesia, Malaysia.
Oh, so you didn't know it was the slogan. You just thought that Roy was saying
thought he was just
that,
like,
that
why
is
would I say
the
that?
place for
It's
ribs.
like, that's a fun little nugget. It's the place for ribs.
You didn't realize it was the slogan for Tony Roma's. You thought that was Roy's personal endorsement.
Just an aside.
Of a defunct restaurant.
He was saying the place for ribs. 10 locations still in the United States, and those got to be hanging on. There cannot be. I'm guessing that if there are 10 remaining in the United States, it's because they're holding on at the end of life, and they're importing whatever it is the booths were at Red Lobster because they've gone bankrupt, and they're just trying to keep alive everything that's there.
Food courts at malls, man.
Fred Baskin Robbins. No? How about Krispy Kreme Hunt?
They're everywhere. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I like that.
Okay, I'm working here.
Wendy's Yama.
Oh, Victor Wendy's Yama, yeah. Now we're going back to the names that we gave Dan, right?
That's right. Just fat food names is all we're going to go to. Can you guys get me some sound from last night, a couple of the different sounds that we want to play from the draft, and some sounds, again, from our live stream that was baseball related somehow during the NBA draft? Just a terrible choice by Meadowlark Media. I think it's Jeremy's fault. I'm not sure.
It is.
Amin said to me, you got to check the schedule before
Hand
it
up,
is
my
that you
bad.
do things. And so I said I had delegated that one. I wasn't looking at a calendar. I should have.
Popeyes Jones.
I feel like that's us, though. Like, we zag. You guys are talking NBA. We're talking baseball.
Yeah, I
over
totally
here.
did it on purpose.
I'm not complaining. It was fine. It's totally on brand. I was just pointing out to the audience why it was done. It wasn't zigging while others are zagging. It was not looking at a calendar. So,
Tomato.
I mean,
It was looking at a busy calendar and deciding, here's one of 3 days we could do it. But next
Jeremy.
time we'll do it from one of the 4 locations at Tony Roma's in the United Arab Emirates.
Jeremy, this is not a busy time in sports. You picked 8. Like, we're headed toward the hot dog eating contest.
Might not be a busy time for you.
Okay. Well, Jeremy, do you think you're busier than I am? Like, that's a thing that you think?
No, I'm saying if it's not a busy
it's-
time in sports.
It sounded like you thought right there that you think you're busier than I am.
I think that last week I might have been busier
Okay,
for
so
some
now-
days.
It's a biz off.
Well, now we got it, though. He denied it. He said it, denied it, and now
I'll
he
admit it.
Well, no, you're admitting it now. You denied it a second ago.
I did because I was trying to, not put my
Okay.
foot in my mouth
All
in
right.
front of my boss.
Well, so here we are.
Good job.
So let's just have this out now. Let's just do this now. Jeremy's had a different experience with how it is that people receive him in the world and how it is that they receive him here. He's had 2 different lives. In the world,
That's right.
they like when he comes out and talks like a broadcaster to get going before he gives his point as a transition.
Boy.
Here, that's not liked as much. What's the whiplash been like?
Limited fake Jeremy was strong.
that was
I like
pretty
that.
good.
That's a
Well, it just takes 13 syllables before he starts, and that's
right.
it's a television contrivance.
It is a television contrivance.
It's not how human beings speak.
Well, it's how I speak now because I was training my whole life to do this. So when you're trying to really be a broadcaster and tell a story, you need to be able to maneuver, whether your voice needs to go to a powerful place up here or if you need to slow things down, enunciate properly, and put a period at the end of a discussion.
Orange Julius Randle.
I think the objection around here is that you put a lot of commas at the end of the discussion and then just keep going. I believe that that's probably
Yeah.
a part of the whiplash.
Yeah,
that
the
there's
issue
a
is
semicolon.
I just like stuff, so I just want to give you all the information that I have about it. And that works for some other people. Like the Miami New Times was really excited about me and wrote up this really nice piece. And it was after yesterday's show that I was a little beaten down. And then I went and I sat at the desk out there and I found out, oh man, cool. I've been named best sideline reporter in Miami by the Miami New Times for Best of 2025.
Just giving those away.
Wait a
And I
second.
read,
Hold on, Jeremy.
amongst like the 7.
Aren't you all of them?
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. That's
who
how
else
you
is
do
out
it,
there?
boys. You just eliminate all the competition.
Yep, that's
And
how you
all
do
they can
it.
nominate is one person.
Yeah, I was one of the probably 6 options, but it felt good.
And the nominees are, for the Florida Panthers 2024 season, Jeremy Taché. For the Miami Heat 2024 season, Jeremy Taché. For the Miami Marlins 2024 season, Jeremy Taché. And what's for the 2024 season of the Miami Dolphins? Who knows? And the winner is Jeremy Taché.
I'm going to read from the Miami New Times. He does have a different experience away from here. They are much kinder. There's more praise. People throw flowers at him. It has gone to his head. If you're even remotely paying attention to the landscape of South Florida sports, Jeremy Taché is everywhere. In a single day, you can turn on your TV to see him on the Miami Heat sidelines or your recommended YouTube page as a mainstay member of the Le Batard and Stugotz crew, and all over your Twitter timeline dropping interviews of Miami Marlins players. It's like the best episode of Black Mirror. He's everywhere, always, all at once, and that's a good thing. Taché does it all with charisma, professionalism, and a unique South Florida Suns style of energy. He earned his reputation as one of the most versatile voices in South Florida sports media by doing what few can, blending sports knowledge with authenticity and a touch of cheerleader.
Touch.
It takes 6 people to replace Taché in the workplace, but no one could ever truly replace what he's brought to the Miami media landscape.
Was this written by Ethan?
Should have said the worst episode of that. Would be the worst episode of Black Mirror, right?
Jeremy Taché everywhere?
The best episode. Have they not watched Black Mirror? The best episode? Come on, Jeremy.
That's a really good
It'd be a
show.
boring Black Mirror episode.
That made me cry when I read it.
It did?
Yeah, it did. It brought,
It's
it brought
nice.
an actual tear to my eye.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's touching, but it's also undercut by Amin's contention that it's just cost cuts all over the industry. AI will replace you soon, and then that's what will be celebrated 7 years from now because you've taken all the jobs.
David, Boston Market. Have you guys seen these AI videos, by the way? Like the ones where it's like man on the street?
Yeah.
Like, Dan, I don't know if you remember this. Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I told you, hey, I found the tell how you can tell that something's AI versus real. And you're like, what is it? I said, the AI videos never change their intonation. So it's like Draymond Green in the press conference when the AI alters it, it's just like him talking like this, and LeBron James is awesome. I wish he was my dad. But it's like, it's always monotone like that.
I
And
wish
so
he was my dad is what you had,
That's
Draymond Green?
how the AI guys do. They always want to make fun of that stuff, right?
They say things that are wacky.
Wacky, and people are like, oh, did you know what Draymond said? I'm like, this is not real. It's AI. You can tell
Right.
it's so monotone and flat. And now, in like the last month,
It's over.
it's over, dude. They've got people. The man on the street stuff is so freaking good. Not only like the language and what they're saying, but just the intonations, the way they turn away. Like, hey man, y'all hit, like it was crazy.
The way I know that it's AI is that it looks too good.
The-
Right, like the
picture quality.
The picture quality's like
For a man on the street
9K.
video.
I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, there's something up with this. I don't
That's
like
the
this.
giveaway now. But it's the picture quality is too good. But like just in terms of how it is mimicking human behavior, human speech patterns, the stuff that Jeremy was talking about, lifting his voice, lowering his voice, all that stuff. Man, we're hurtling towards a time where literally I can't trust anything unless it's right in front of me.
Well, everyone's going to be me, right? I got fooled by the internet before it was trendy.
Yeah.
I got fooled by the
You were ahead of
internet
the
back
curve.
when the
You're ahead of
internet
the curve.
wasn't very good at
Right.
fooling people.
He's got a
Shark
point.
on the turnpike.
Now, but now you're all going to be me. Now you're all going to be me. Your kids are going to be making fun of you because you got fooled by the equivalent of the shark on the turnpike.
Wait a second. Are you serious? How'd it get there?
It's going to be less lonely then. I will tell you that I felt a little lonely last night as everyone was enjoying the 3 players they could name from the draft, and Jeremy and I were here alone with Robert, the IT guy. As the Codys were bowling, and Greg Cody said he couldn't come in, but he didn't tell me why. He just said he had a Wednesday thing. And then
Not lying.
Then I learned, of course, Greg Cody would choose the bowling league. Chris, this is his priority now in life, correct? There is nothing that's getting in the way of your father bowling on Wednesday nights, correct?
He's the first one in the group chat on Mondays. I'm in Wednesday. right away.
Oh, I love that guy.
He's I don't need it Monday. Let me know Tuesday, maybe Wednesday morning. Monday morning, he's like, I'm in this week. Who's in? He'll give like a rah-rah speech. Like, we got it this week, boys.
I love that. Sometimes our basketball group chat of the team that we play on Thursdays, sometimes people trickle in Thursday afternoon. Like, I'm in. I need the guy, hey, Tuesday. I'm already lacing him up. I'm running around. I'm ready to go.
But late in life, it's been interesting to watch, Chris. Your father cares about very few things. It's beer and himself. That's the list. To see bowling added, where it seems a priority in his life, and it's the perfect priority.
Well, bowling has beer.
That's right.
That's the key.
That's correct. It's instead of beer in the garage, it's beer and he can throw things and watch things break and scatter. Like, that's what the whole thing is. Last night we did a lot of looks like with Tim Kirkshin as part of our celebration. One of the best ones we got was Adam Silver and Scott Van Pelt look like a 7-10 split in bowling. And also good there, because people were pairing the two, is that Adam Silver looks like Scott Van Pelt 15 seconds after someone has opened the Ark of the Covenant.
I laughed my ass off on that one. That was the 10 seconds I saw. Good. I turned it on. I was like, let me see what the boys are doing. Like, SVP looks like SVP touching the Ark of the Covenant. I died. Then I turned it off.
That's art. Whoever came up with that one, that is art.
We had a number of good ones. It suggested, I saw a lot of them, so it suggested that we're going to be able to do that tournament again next year that you guys missed so much. But you speak of AI. I got caught in this recently. You tell me how fake this is right here, and see if you can tell me what the controversy was that was created by this fake thing.
Here's how this NBA analyst just told Michael Jordan to stay silent during his new NBC gig. And Eddie Johnson wasn't having it. Now, Dan Le Batard shocked fans by saying he has zero interest in hearing Michael Jordan speak on NBC's NBA coverage next season. Now, that take didn't sit right with former Phoenix Suns star Eddie Johnson, who fired back with sarcasm, mocking Le Batard's dismissal of the GOAT as he said, Dan knows more about basketball than MJ and does not want his opinions on anything. This is the USA 2025. Scary. What do you make of this?
Le Batard's always going to be tough for AI.
Le Batard.
That's the part about the USA in 2025 that's scary?
I agree with him.
Le Batard.
How dare you, Dan?
There is very little anywhere in America or elsewhere that would be dumber than the idea that I know more about basketball than Michael Jordan. So I would say yes, that is, I worry about America as well, that is out there and that the AI machines are feeding on it and they are putting out into the world that I want MJ to shut up and dribble, when no, I want MJ to just speak and say things that are interesting, which he never does. I don't want him to shut up and dribble. I want him to dribble and talk a lot. Like, I don't want him to shut up. I want him to just say things again and again and again, but he won't. And as a broadcaster, he'll be Tom Brady and Dan Marino, who don't say anything.
The CEO of the company makes ChatGPT said the worst thing you could do is trust ChatGPT. Like,
excuse me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I learned the other day something I did not know. I mentioned it to you guys. You don't need school, and kids are going to throw away all of their parents' money at school by just cheating their way through college by using AI. In fact, I shouldn't say are going to. They're already doing it. They're already devaluing the college experience by inundating the professor with a bunch of things that computers wrote.
This is a quote from Sam Altman. Quote, people have a high degree of trust in ChatGPT, which is funny because it hallucinates. It hallucinates, ladies and gentlemen.
I also don't like that. Let's keep a pin in that.
What does that mean?
Keep a pin in that.
It means you should not be trusting this thing for information.
Well, yeah.
Which is like you're saying, oh, people are wasting their money sending their kids to school. No, kids need to go to school to know when the AI doesn't know what the hell it's talking about, because what AI is, ladies and gentlemen, is just an aggregation of all the dumbass opinions that we've already had. It's not coming up with the right answer. It's coming up with the answers people think. Again, the quote is, people have a very high degree of trust in ChatGPT, which is interesting because AI hallucinates. It should be the tech that you don't trust that much.
When the guy that created that and is the CEO of that and is like the spearhead of the AI movement across the world is telling you it hallucinates, I worry.
I'll tell you what I'm worried about also. I read a story where this woman apparently, I don't know if it's ChatGPT, but some AI tool like that, she was talking to it about her relationship and her problems, whatever, and it was like, divorce your husband. Like, you're crazy if you don't get divorced. And it struck me, not that AI would make that suggestion, that there are people out there who are talking to like ChatGPT and Gemini, Google Gemini, asking it, what should I do with my boyfriend or my girlfriend? Like, what's happening here?
There's people who have left their families for their AI partner that they've created and confided in. There's people who have been convinced to die by suicide because they were confiding in this AI machinery that's then telling it, sounds like you don't really have a choice. There was a guy who's a meth addict who, no joke, was confiding about the issues that he was having with struggling against staying sober, and it told him, you deserve one hit of meth this week. Yeah. These are all stories that have been reported in reputable papers. That's insane what's happening there, and what it is you're right. Kids don't know how to find real information right now because they're relying on ChatGPT. When we were kids, it was the emergence of Wikipedia that was the big issue because we just needed to make sure that sources were cited on information. So we all knew to go down to the references and be sure you could from there.
References.
This is a totally different element.
I am disturbed by the information and darkness that Amin is spewing with a giant smile on his face. Like, this is just horrifying, scary stuff that the computers are with our help, with our assistance, as all of the people who have made these computers say, please be careful, they learn too fast and they're going to destroy humankind. All of them say this. Amin has the right attitude where he gives you the dark information with a giant smile on his face that is frozen in terror because the robots are coming.
My kid was fascinated that I knew how to do sines and cosines of angles off the top of my head. Like, without a computer or a calculator?
Your kids are Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, that's true.
You went to Georgia Tech. You should be able to know how to do that.
No, everyone who does trigonometry should be able to know to do that. They're teaching them right now. Oh, just put it in the calculator.
Kids can't write cursive now, right? Cursive has died.
That one died a long time ago.
Cursive, a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
There are kids graduating high school now who never wrote in cursive in third grade.
I was like the tail end of having to be taught cursive, and I was terrible at it. And my assertion all along, which I turned out to be right, why the hell are we trying to make things harder to read?
Could never figure out that Z.
Like, why we're trying to communicate via the written word. Why are we trying to make it look harder to decipher? Is that an S or is that a
When
A?
did cursive die? There was not a memo. When did that die?
K looks like an R.
What other things ended up dying? Again, during the NBA draft last night, in which people knew the names of 3 or 4 players, we were doing something different. We were, I'm going to say, watching the baseball games, but we didn't actually watch any of the baseball games. They were all on in here, and I didn't see almost any of them. But we did have a good time. One of the highlights was Tim Kirkshin, as he's known to do after dark when he's got a couple of pops in him, just going crazy.
Look at me. I married a hooker. I got no front teeth. What?
Okay, that might have been more fun than the draft.
Yeah.
Again, snippets were great.
What do you mean snippets? The
Snippets, hold on a minute. That feels undercutting.
No, because I saw in snippets, and snippets, they were great.
He's co-signing.
Exactly right. Thank
snippets.
you.
Cosign.
Okay, well, just play that again, please, so that people can understand that this is Tim Kirkshin just going biographical and just telling us about his life.
Look at me. I married a hooker. I got no front teeth. What?
I didn't know that he had veneers before that. That's when I'm learning that Tim Kirkshin has fake teeth. Mike Ryan hadn't reported that he happens to know.
I'm just learning about the divorce.
Let's say, is Jeff? How does Jeff feel?
It wasn't a divorce. It was his first wife.
Oh, so a change of professions.
This also happened with Tim Kirkshin last night, where he was very proud, unbelievably, of his very limited movie knowledge because he correctly got a movie question right with Adnan Virk. He was feeling himself, and then this happened. This director is known for movies such as Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and Goodfellas.
Well, it's the greatest director of all time. It's Adnan's all-time favorite.
You forget his name?
I forgot his name.
No.
No, Timmy. Stick the landing. He was so confident. This is so bad. Adnan has told me 1,000 times this is the greatest director ever.
I've been there. You just lose it.
Adnan was the coach running on the sideline, celebrating the touchdown run, And then Kirkshin just fumbles it.
Yes,
up with the
just
Leon Lett.
The other thing that ended up happening there is that I learned later that the Kirkchins are cheaters because the only way he got the name is because his son, his producer on his own podcast, Is This a Great Game or What? I urge you to support it. It is very good. It is lovely. It is innocent. It's from a different time. These two people sound so much like each other, love each other so much, and unlike my father on Highly Questionable, enjoy working together.
I need to see the pins. We need to see the pins, Chris.
Nah, we'll hear the pins.
All right.
Oh, look at that form.
That's
look
Greg
at that
Cody.
form.
Yes, no!
I have no idea what
We don't know what he did.
No!
We couldn't even. I guess it's a strike. I guess. Okay, he bowled a strike. Is he wearing boat shoes?
Did he bowl a
How
strike?
about me? How about me? Oh! Woo! Now hold the phone. Hold the phone.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us, Greg. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, how about that baseball game, huh?
I mean, are you still claiming that you gave the broadcast more last night than Greg Cody did? Because he bowled a strike while we were watching. Was he wearing bowling shoes or boat shoes? I couldn't tell.
Bowling shoes.
Rentals or he owns his own?
Well, he wears the boat shoes to the bowling alley, puts on the bowling shoes, and then wears
No
those.
socks to either.
Yeah.
No socks in the bowling shoes?
You got to get good grip on the bowling shoes
Yeah, I
with
don't
those
think
toes.
I don't think he wears socks.
No!
Yeah.
Why?
No! There
Come on,
are
guys.
other disgusting human beings like Cody who have put their what is his name?
Nosferatu.
Nostradamus is what I made him.
You're close.
Nosferatu feet in the bowling shoes. You can't do that without socks.
You're worried about other people who wore that. I'm worried for other people. He put his gnarled ass foot in that shoe, and then they hand it back. You think a little bit of spray is gonna take care of that?
Guys, this is a league bowling. You think he's not? He has the shoes.
Oh, he owns his own.
Those are
pair.
his shoes, but
Okay.
it's still gross.
It's still gross.
Oh,
What are we doing?
It's just like you
jaundice.
Get his foot out of there, guys.
put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Would you ever wear any bowling shoes without socks?
Is this here? Is this any one of these countertops? Because I don't want to touch anything now.
Was at the Clevelander, I believe.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
What do you guys make of the reporting from Brian Windhorst that executives and agents were calling him, making fun of the Nets draft picks as the draft was in Brooklyn and they took all guards? They had 5 picks in the first round and just kept taking guards the way that Stugotz has suggested for years that NFL teams should just take quarterbacks in every round until they find one. What do you make of that from last night? Again, in an industry that is doing something last night that is highly unscientific, that is really super subjective. A lot of people think that they know that the Nets and the Pelicans don't know what they're doing. And those people get to say something, without anyone ever remembering that they could be wrong because of how long it will take Brooklyn and New Orleans to make them actually wrong. So it's one of the reasons that this thing is such a wonderful feeding frenzy for the media. It's got no accountability in it. Mel Kiper every once in a while will bring back stuff that he said because it sticks, but I assure you that anything said last night making fun of the Brooklyn Nets is not something that's going to be resurrected 3 or 4 years from now if the Brooklyn Nets are ever any good.
Well, I think the Nets are in a different situation, right? They took a bunch of guys. I guarantee not all of them will be reporting to camp. They also got Danny Wolf from Michigan, who I really like. I think they've got room to throw it at the wall and see what sticks. The reason why people like me and Tony and some other people are like, New Orleans, what are you doing? Is because they instantly put a bet on what they did, right? They said, hey, we're going to take this guy. Oh, by the way, how confident are we that this is going to work out? Immediately next year, unprotected first-round pick. And that's the part that makes it egregious. That makes what you're talking about is right. There's no accountability. But guess what? For the New Orleans Pelicans, within 12 months, we're going to have accountability very quickly.
Yeah, but those people have accountability, and they lose their jobs because of that accountability. The media can just have a frenzy, not know who the players are, not see any of them play, not watch them because they're foreign, and then all of a sudden have very strong opinions about whether your team did what it was supposed to. It's one of the reasons I hate the NFL draft, that the day after, I don't know if my team's any better. Like, nobody knows if their team's any better, and it's just an exercise in annual stupidity, but everyone loves it. So I sit alone on an island of sports, as I often do, like I was last night, super lonely, watching baseball games with Jeremy instead of the NBA draft.
All the 13 Brooklyn Nets fans that are out there are probably not even thinking about, like, what this team could be. They're trying to figure out who these guys are, right? Like, you got a guy from Israel. You're like, who the hell is this guy? They had to pick top 8, and they picked a kid from BYU who's a decent guard, but like he's a guy that you're gonna have to project to be something good like later on. They had Maluach right there. They had the kid that the Raptors drafted, Colin Murray Boyles. Like, there was players that they could have diversified their draft stock. Instead, they got 9 guards and a big who plays like a guard, and it's like, what are we doing?
The reality, though, Tony, is that even if they got one of every position, they got a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center. 5 first-round picks. Nobody does 5 first-round picks.
If you got 5, you got none.
Yeah, pretty much. You got beyond none. It's way too much, right? So the reality is they're not going to bring all these guys together, right? And maybe some of these guys are never going to play for the Brooklyn Nets. They might have their rights included into deals around the league. And I think that's the part that you just got to like factor into all of this is they don't have any sort of responsibility to anything because they've got the flexibility to do whatever they want because they're not supposed to be good next year.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Has the draft gone from what is this guy to who is this guy? Hoomst? Hoomst is this guy. I haven't used hoomst. Put it on the poll as well at Le Batard Show. Have you ever used the word hoomst?
Hoomst, there it is.
I also want to say something. And look, I love the French. Too many French guys in the NBA draft. The last couple of years, what are we doing?
They're taking over one draft at a time.
We'll see taking over. There's one guy taking over. The rest of the guys, they got to prove it to me.
Alexander Sarr.
And Risa Shea was nice coming on at the end of the season. But you're looking at these guys from France. You're like, I've never heard of. Like, who is this guy?
We are not far.
Whomst is this guy?
Yeah, from Canada and France, whooping our ass every time they see us on the block.
Buddy,
we're not that far.
USA,
we're
red,
not
white, and
that
blue,
far.
buddy. Do not do that to yourself.
I'm telling you.
Don't sell yourself that pipe dream, buddy.
Man, let me tell you something. You look at that Canada team, MVP.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Right? And then you start throwing in other Nemhard. Oh, you want Nemhard hounding Steph Curry up and down the court?
Steph Curry, we don't know how long he's got Olympic
Lou
playing.
Dort? Lou Dort out there, muscling up on people. Benedict Mathurin shooting every time he touches it. R.J. Barrett.
No, please.
I'm running out of guys.
You want Kelly Olynyk on the block?
What is Olynyk's name actually Maple nickname? It's Maple.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
If
Famously.
you know.
I don't.
Thank you, Amin. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are we weeks away from Canada and France wiping the block with us? I feel like Amin is just waiting for all sorts of apocalypses and looking at them through grinning. And that's me saying that. That's me who has been grinning through fear and apocalypse. I think Amin is with me now, fearing both AI and France. Which is unreasonable.
Well, he said Canada too.
With me, it's AI and climate change. With him, it's AI and France and Canada in basketball. And then he names a bunch of 4th and 5th starters and bench players.
Boy, they're gamers, though. Those guys are gamers.
Benedict Mathurin.
Gamers. You see that guy in the Game 7?
Yeah, the problem is, Game 4, he sucked.
Yeah, did you see him miss all the free throws when they needed to just make one free throw to beat an OKC team that made 3 3-pointers all game?
I saw a guy show up in Game 7, look around, not see anybody with him, say, I got this, guys. Put him on my back.
Kelly Olynyk's nickname, also according to the internet, the lunch lady.
He does look like a lunch lady.
Yes, he does.
Not as much as Luis Scola does.
Wow.
You put Luis Scola in a hairnet, that looks like the cafeteria lady. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Who looks more like the lunch lady? Luis Scola or Kelly Olynyk?
That's got to be 50-50.
We've got a new media beef.
Hooray.
And, I'm sorry?
Hooray.
Usually the hooray has more enthusiasm than that. That was a hooray soaked in indifference.
I didn't want to overtake your take.
So you just interrupted
Just
it.
a bet. It was supposed to be a bet underneath.
So you just interrupted it with a meek, half-hearted hooray that no one heard. And then I had to ask, stop the show and ask, what'd you say?
Yeah, it's a radio term, Dan. A bed. That's when the sound is underneath what you're saying. Hooray. Go ahead.
Thank you for teaching me about radio. Doug Gottlieb has called Pablo Torre exhausting. And what you guys are nodding on that in agreement?
I'm just listening. I'm listening.
Wait a minute.
Yawned just
I'm
thinking
noting
about
Chris,
Pablo.
you
Every
yawned.
person perked up.
Wait a minute. What just happened there is physically funny. I said Doug Gottlieb has called Pablo Torre exhausting, and Chris Cody, looking exhausted, yawned in my face.
That's what Pablo does to me.
While nodding that, yes, confirming that he sides with Gottlieb in this beef.
Dan, I felt like the gif of the woman with tasting kombucha for the first time, where he said Doug Gottlieb. I said, "Oh," and he said, "Has called Pablo Torre exhausting." Oh, maybe. you lost me and you got me right back in. All right, finish the statement.
And disingenuous.
Nah,
Now lost me again.
he lost me again.
After his recent episode, Pablo Torre finds out where he produces 61 pages of documentation that the NFL and NFLPA do not want you to see about how all of these people colluded because, whoa, Deshaun Watson got a lot of guaranteed money. We can't control ourselves. Let's cheat, all of us. Let's all cheat because we don't know how to control ourselves in a bidding war when there's a quarterback available who may be like right on the cusp of being a criminal.
What was his second highest bid for Deshaun Watson? I'm curious. Has anyone ever asked
There
that
were many.
question?
There were
bids.
There were many bids to get him to that guaranteed money. But this goes on here. Quote, Pablo Torre as a guest is amazing. Pablo Torre as a host at times can be a little exhausting, and I'll tell you why. He's way too smart to be talking about sports, and he's searching so bad for that aha gotcha that I think he's being disingenuous or he's frankly misusing the idea of collusion.
Gotta digest that one.
So he's misusing the idea of collusion by being too smart to talk about sports and grasping for an aha moment.
Is Gottlieb still doing the Daily Show that LeBron made fun of him for doing while he was making fun of a school that he didn't think he had to prepare that much for, and then he lost to that school as part of like a 19-game losing streak because Doug Gottlieb, I don't know what their record was at Green Bay, Wisconsin last year. They won like 3 or 4 games, but he was also doing a daily radio show.
Out of Green Bay, Wisconsin? Really? Doug Gottlieb is big in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Well, I think it's a national show. I don't think it's a local show.
They were 4-28.
But it would be difficult, I would think, to be doing a daily show. I don't know. Amin was teaching me about radio earlier, so maybe he knows. A daily radio show and coaching a college basketball team seems to be hard.
We call that cadence, Dan. The number of times a week. Cadence.
No, he's busy.
0 for 14 in conference play, and they endured a 21-game losing streak.
Denny's Hamlin.
Amin mentioned liking Danny Wolf from Michigan. Why do you like him? Obviously, his size. I want to show you a picture here of Danny Wolf's brother when he was drafted last night. Ugly crying. There's an ugly crying face. He can't be happy about that this morning.
I don't get happy tears. You guys do happy tears?
Oh,
Jeremy,
dude, I did happy tears yesterday. I love happy tears.
I do that a lot too, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I've never done it.
The gratitude wells up in you so much because something moves you, and then it leaks out your eyes because it can't stay in your body.
Gratitude. Okay.
That's what
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I think it's also you and I relate here, Dan. It's sort of emotionally on the edge at all times. So you could push me in one direction or another, and I'm probably just gonna cry.
He looks like he ate a lemon while cutting onions at the same time.
It is really good ugly crying, and it's the brother of a 7-footer, so my guess is he's also pretty tall as well.
You see no other heads in the shot, by the way. He is miles above sea level right now.
You do see another head. It's just at his shoulders. Look at as they pan over. There's a guy with gray hair that just kind of shows up out of nowhere.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is the brother of a 7-footer ever under 6 feet? Or the sister. Is the sibling of a 7-footer ever 5'3"? if they are indeed biological siblings.
Samson size?
That's
That'd be
right.
funny.
Yeah, Shaq and Samson. Like there are Schwarzenegger and DeVito and twins.
Tony, the guy with the silver hair. Oh, there you go. I thought you meant like the photographer.
No.
way
I'm talking
back
about
in-
this guy right here.
Man,
There
that's
you
Kristaps
go.
Porzingis, man.
For the audio audience, however red you think his face is, it's redder. However far you think his bottom lip is being stuck out while the corners of his mouth are frowning, it's further than you think. However greasy you think the combo of the hair and the face is, it's greasier than you think. However far down you think his eyebrows
The
might be
angles on the eyebrows.
slanting
That's
on
the
the
craziest part.
eyebrows. It's steeper than you think.
It's the pyramid of Giza right now. This one eyebrow is going up this
It's
way.
incredible.
Going back to sines and cosines, that's a 45-degree angle, folks.
Dan, can you do that with your eyebrows?
I cannot.
He doesn't have that kind of power.
They're stiff.
Peter Gallagher, maybe. Maybe he could.
My eyebrows are more starched. They don't have flexibility. They're dry cleaned. They don't move around.
This guy's right here, man.
Let's play Malika Andrews making a mistake that I could very easily make. It would happen to me. I'm not kidding. It would happen to me. I told you guys recently that I thought newspaper headlines had gotten very cruel when I read a headline, "Coward Forgoes Duke." Enters NBA draft. I'm like, my God, those headline writers are getting personal there. But no, it just turns out that his name is Cedric Coward. And Malika Andrews, again, made a mistake I could very easily make.
So the Portland Trailblazers select Colin Coward here.
A stunning pick.
You can hear her reading something else while doing that. She's like distracted. She's like, Colin Cowherd here. Like you can
And there's
hear.
definitely a producer's voice in
Yes.
her ear at that time, too. So she's trying to read a sheet that says what the name is of the player and find it in the slot on the best available. And she definitely has a producer. And as Lewis talks in my ear, it's the same thing. So you can maybe hear, if Lewis just keeps talking,
You can hear
might
her
be able to
distraction.
hear it through the microphone. It's difficult to do.
Colin Cowherd's at home like, me? You know the meme of the guy like...
He's at home. Let's play that again. You imagine the stunned fans learning, wait, we drew what? What did we draft?
So the Portland Trailblazers select Colin Coward here.
I mean, is he
Little
going to
pause.
Drew Holiday's going to be throwing it to Cowherd in the post, and then he's just going to give people a bunch of bad opinions?
3 and D.
Yeah, talk about John Wall. Like, oh, I don't like that dance.
Dougie.
They throw it in the post, and all of a sudden the play call is just, I don't like guys with backward hats.
So his name is Cedric Coward, right? So
Yes.
do we think that what this was is on the big board that Malika's looking at? It's just first letter of first
C.
name dot last name. And so you got C. Coward and maybe brain autofills with
Got to be
Colin
full
Coward
names
there?
on there
No,
because
no.
nobody
so?
nobody
TV.
knows any of these.
I just
people.
don't know. I mean,
Jeremy,
maybe her own notes.
Jeremy, this is TV. They're handing you a full name with a pronunciation in case you don't know how to say coward.
I know how to
so you
do
don't
TV.
say.
Damn.
Miami New Times sideline reporter of the year.
Amin is teaching people how to do radio and television today, and nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. I've got to think that Cedric Coward has at some point considered changing his name. No? Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show to Bill Coward. If you are an athlete at LeBatard Show, if you are an athlete and your name is Cedric Coward, do you think about changing your name? And then the next poll, do you think about changing your name to Bill Coward?
I think Malika just got caught up because a couple picks before, Colin Murray Boyles got picked. So there was a Colin already floating in the ether. The next pick was Kaman Maluach, which is a mouthful, and you're trying to figure that out. And then the next guy, you're looking at Cedric
That's
Coward,
good
and then all of a sudden,
analysis.
Colin Coward comes out of nowhere. There he is.
By the way, you say that Cedric Coward should change his name. There was a guy who played for the Nets a couple years ago whose name was, and I quote, David Duke Jr. And they asked him, you want to call it Davey? And he's like, nope. And they said, you know who David Duke is? He's like, yeah, but I'm going to be so good, I'm going to change the perception of that name. That was his outtake.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is he now?
I don't know. Running for governor.
How good would he have to be?
Speaking of where is he now, there was a player last night, and you helped me here because I've heard about this, but I have not seen it. So I've just been told, and this is just B-roll, so there's not going to be audio with it, but that somebody was drafted by Toronto, and you know this is something that is true here. I mean, a lot of times American players, and this is why Toronto and Vancouver a million years ago don't get many of the free agents. A lot of American players don't like the idea of being removed from America and having to go to Canada. You tell me whether this is going to a bad team or a country that he doesn't want to go to here, Amin.
Yeah, he gets up and he shakes his head, buttons his thing, and says, "Oh!"
He mutters under his breath, "Bleep." It's just, and that is not happiness, correct? He's buttoning his jacket, and it's like, "Bleep." This is a moment for all time. This is a lifetime dream. Bleep. I'm not happy. That is sheer disappointment. That you can't. He can give all the quotes about being. Is that about Canada? That has to be about Canada.
Look, it could be about a number of things. Canada, the Raptors not being a good team, the Raptors having a lot of players who are kind of his position. They have a glut of these combo wings. But then the other thing is the reason why guys don't like playing in Canada. It's not. Look, Toronto. People love Toronto.
Toronto's a great city.
Toronto's a great road city. Come in. You party, you do this.
It's a great city,
great
period.
Food, great everything, right? The problem is with, first of all, this is the taxes, right? Tax levels are escalated there. They're higher than even New York or California. Number two, the number of logistics coming in and out of the country. So my family wants to come see me. It's not like flying to Indiana and okay, and then you got to go through customs and all this stuff. So it's a very cumbersome process. Number three, and this is gonna sound ridiculous, guys don't like the metric system. They really get bothered by like, okay, a kilometer, how's that in miles and stuff. It's just like it's different enough for you to know I am not in the America anymore, and that's enough of a mind bleep for guys.
I appreciate your efforts in going those lengths to try and figure this out. I don't think it's the metric system that made him curse as he was getting up there. I do wonder if we're being unfair to Colin Murray Boyles, though, because it could just be that's a whole stressful process, and he was happy that it was over.
Disbelief almost.
And finally, I don't know. It seems unfair, fun, but unfair to assume that it's the metric system that's bothering him there and not just that the last few hours have been a little stressful.
This guy goes into a McDonald's and he orders a Royale with cheese? You telling me that's not stressful?
A centimeter bothered.
Does seem to mouth the word.
Oh, that was clear that he did mouth that, but it could just be because he was. Did he expect to go earlier?
From the coworker?
No.
Or maybe he doesn't have a passport or winter clothes. Maybe it could be.
Winter clothes is a big one, too.
He's from South Carolina, so going to Canada is quite the stretch. And Houston was next. Maybe he just really wanted to go to Houston. He's like, all right, KD just got traded there. They're maybe going to win. And now he's going to the Raptors. A bunch of guys at his position. Different thing.
In his mind, it's like being sent to St. Bonaventure or somewhere like that to spend the rest of your days. Just a cold, icy tundra.
Everyone here sides with Doug Gottlieb over Pablo Torre. Is that something that just happened? Pablo Torre is doing important reporting. He's doing good reporting. He's one of the last people out there actually doing some of the work required, and he's getting some awards, but he's also getting some blowback. And I think it's because it's Pablo Torre. I think if it was somebody else reporting this, it wouldn't be received the same way.
It's real journalism. It's real news breaking. Oh, so-and-so's about to go. That's not news breaking. That's news breaking what Pablo does.
But it makes me wonder, and this is a larger conversation. I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about it, but at least some of you are here in part because you line up with some of this show's principles and, frankly, your relationship with the show, if it goes back 20 years, you care about some of the things that we care about. When you say, quote unquote, real journalism, I'm more convinced than I've ever been that people don't want that.
Well, people don't know what it is.
Correct. And so they don't want it. And they reject it out of hand viscerally. It's like, I've never tasted broccoli, but I don't like broccoli. I just know I don't like it. And so you've just made up your mind before you've even tried it or thought about it. What Pablo Torre is doing is extraordinarily difficult. He's at a trough where all news gatherers are, and he's consistently finding things, reporting them, vetting them, taking them through lawyers, and making people unhappy because power doesn't want you to see things that are true. To me, that's one of the most important things in journalism, and one of the most heartbreaking things to see over my last 20 years in it, is that I care about it deeply. And man, so many people don't care enough to even get informed about why they reject it, viscerally. Now, in Pablo's case, it's the condescension.
Right. That's why I wanted to stop you, because I don't think it's against all journalism. I think it's Pablo specifically. For instance, you never hear people talk like that about Seth Wickersham, who I think does the same kind of excellent reporting.
But he's not getting the attention that Pablo presently is, where Nick Wright's looking around and saying, I don't get the big deal. Why is everyone writing about this guy and talking about this guy
You know
now?
why, though, right? Because Pablo, over the last year, has done a lot of the great reporting, including whether the hotel in Oklahoma City is actually haunted or not.
And whether Giannis is missing free throws on purpose so that the fans could get free chicken.
Incredible reporting.
Those
incredible
are great
journalism.
episodes, by the way.
Great
Awesome
episodes, thank you.
Peabody worthy.
You know what? One nomination is for everybody. But the part that gets him the ire and the attention and the level of scrutiny and comments like that are because he did Marcus Jordan, Larsa Pippen, and because he did Belichick and Jordan.
Yeah, he goes high-low. He goes.
Yeah.
He can do both things.
But those are the things that bring the negative attention.
It brings some of it, but I also think that it feels to everyone, oh, he's reporting this from the yacht club, isn't he?
That's the issue, right? It feels like he's like on a high up castle and being like, you peasants, I will let you know what you need to know. And then we're like, wait, what? I can read this in the tabloids.
Yeah, like what if I reported it? Then it'd probably be received better, right?
New Times. They would say, well, he's everywhere. Look
You
at him.
you can't do that with the work, though. The work ought to be able to speak for itself. And what I'm telling you is, if the NFLPA and the NFL doesn't want you to see it, and Mike Florio's out there, Mike Florio is connected, and he can't get to this story, and he's trying to get to this story. Pablo Torre is finding out things that other people aren't finding out. It's a valuable service, and I don't believe it's the message that people are objecting to. I just don't know. I believe it's the person, just to the degree that people are objecting to it, because it's getting a ton of applause and should.
Can I pitch an idea? Perhaps we can even turn this into content. Pablo Torre makeover. Right now, he's detached. He's unrelatable to the common man. He's a Harvard grad from New York City, the very embodiment of a liberal elite. This is what we do. We take Pablo to Oklahoma City for a month. Get him some regular people clothes, working folks clothes, maybe some Wrangler jeans.
Some Dickies.
Go to the boot, scoot, and toop, or whatever the hell that shit is called, right?
Work boots? So you now have him line dancing in work boots?
And drinking strong American beers like
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
You know what? Hold on a second. I'm
okay.
sorry.
I was
Just
on a roll.
forgive me.
And,
Hold on a
sometimes-
second. Hold on.
He was right there.
International Airport is what I was talking about.
Major asshole.
You fly to Houston,
Out.
and then you drive.
Not another word! Like, that's the most egregious of offenses. Out! My God. Don't bleep with the money, I mean.
He was onto something, though.
No, he wasn't.
No. We make Pablo relatable to the common man. We put him in some basketball shorts. We put him on some sandals. Let him walk around. Now this is the jeans, all the stuff that he wears, all these fancy things. Come on.
You guys have the right idea, and I do believe that we should have a game show where we try to teach Pablo how to be more likable. I will have to recuse myself. I know nothing about how to do that.
Don't worry, I'll help. Everyone else thinks I can help. You just don't think I can help.
You, me, and Mike should do it.
No, everyone
That'd
else
be
thinks
great.
I can help. You're the only one who doesn't think I can help.
I don't believe I'm the only one.
And you've convinced this whole audience I can't help, but I can help. Other people think I can help. Was that helpful?
I mean, I don't believe that you or me should be teaching Pablo anything about likability.
Common man, I don't think of you and Jeremy as like the number one common guy.
I have asked people. I've never taken any classes. I've never done anything other than pay lip service to some of this. I've not taken an action to be more likable. But you have heard my lament over the course of 20 years here on this show that hasn't improved any, which is, I know my message is okay. It's the messenger that's the problem. Like, it's my tone, it's strident, it's obnoxious, it's emotional, it doesn't get any better, it yammers, it thinks it's right. It's all the things Pablo is. No one in the media's history has ever been more like me than Pablo. And so I am here. I've already taught him everything I know, and this is the circumstance. He has all of the information that I can impart, and the result is this. What is in front of you, reporting from the yacht club.
Why hasn't he listened to Reali? I feel like he could give him good advice.
I don't think it's that easy to teach likable. I think it's really hard. I would say that I told Reality this the other day. I think we said it during the South Beach session that we did. His greatest gift is likability. It's what makes, like, of course he's good at television. He's very good at television. But people don't leave Reality not liking Reality. I'll tell you this about somebody else, too, because I was talking about this with Eduardo Perez last night during the live cast, this live stream that was baseball while the basketball draft was going on. Tim Kirkshin is the rarest of media entities that has fed all his life off of baseball and clubhouses, and no one has anything bad to say about Tim Kirkshin. And it's stunning to be 50 years reporting things, some of which the athletes and executives don't want other people to know, and Tim Kirkshin doesn't have an enemy in this business. But I would also say that in the business that we're in, you go ahead and give me all of the people at the very top of the food chain in whatever it is that you consider sports content, and give me all the ones that are there because they're likable. Because the most famous ones, I don't think are. I don't think likability is one of the traits. I think you want people to listen to you, and you want the people who don't like you to also listen to you. And if they don't like you, as Howard Stern says, they often listen more than the ones who do. So when I say top of the food chain, and obviously Kirkshin's at the top of the food chain, but when I say the people in our industry that you regard as the most famous giver of sports opinions, give me the likable ones.
Well, let me start with Kirkshin doesn't really give sports opinions as much, right? A lot of his stuff is factual reporting and context. He'll give a lot of that, especially when he talks about historical things. But he's not out here saying like, oh, I think Skeens is the best pitcher in the game right now. He doesn't do that.
He does do some of that, but it's got the historical information and context that people understand. This is an expert, and he's not saying controversial things, and he's certainly not judging or smearing character very much or performance in a way that would be cruel, mean, or outsized, but that's more rewarded now than it ever is. So if I do a likability chart on whoever it is that you consider the ratings movers, for example, I'll give you one example, right? So yesterday on the show, I said I think it's unlikely Shannon Sharpe works at ESPN again, and I thought all of what Shannon did was carefully staged in order to make it look like that was his decision, and he did ESPN a favor by making it look like all of that, because I don't think ESPN wanted to make any of that worse than it already was by firing him, suspending him, or even commenting on any of what's happening there. So Shannon can exist doing the stuff that he's doing on the stuff he owns, but the stuff that other people own, he cannot do whatever he wants. But the argument against what I'm saying is, well, he moves the needle, Dan. There aren't that many who do. Like, he actually produces ratings, and then where does Disney or any corporate giant have to do the math of, in my lifetime, that all happens around someone, and they are not likely to return to Disney. But in this particular case, you have a totally different media landscape, and you've also got Disney getting in the business of, we're going to rent some of these mercenaries, free agents, people from the outside. We're going to give them platforms. We're not going to own them. We're going to give them independence so they can do other stuff. And so maybe under these circumstances, I've got it wrong. I don't think we'll see Shannon Sharpe on ESPN again, but maybe ESPN needs whatever it is that Shannon Sharpe is doing, because he is actually one of the few needle movers, but it's not because of likability. And I like him, but it's not because of likability. It's because he gives opinions. And the two things almost, I would say, can't coexist to be done the very best way that returns ratings, given that you're trying to do something that appeals to the broadest net of people, and therefore you're going to have people who watch you because they like your cruel. Stephen A. Smith's judgment of people has gotten more performative and more wrestling than it's ever been, at least in part, because it's obviously rewarded.
It works. Because it works. It works, and it goes back to the Cosell thing that you were saying, which is they listen to you because they like you, and if they don't like you, they listen to you even more. Was it Howard Stern that said that? Either way, one of the Howards, right? One of the Howards said that, but it's true, and he's tapped into that. And if you're talking about Shannon Sharpe, My thought is he goes away. If he goes away and he's successful, wildly successful, they'll bring him back in because they bring back everybody who's wildly successful.
I think when you talk about a likability sports opinion giver, I think automatically of Dan Patrick, right? He's lived so many lives of ESPN anchor, Sports Center, biggest, show. Then he did his own thing. He's in Adam Sandler movies. Like, he's just a very likable guy, and I don't really think a lot of people say, I don't really like Dan Patrick. He's just a normal guy.
It's an excellent one, and I will tell you a story I've told before around here. I'm going to say it was 15 years ago. I'm walking through the bowels of the Heat's arena, and Dan Patrick is standing there. Can you guys look for me how long Dan Patrick has been doing his show? Because I make fun of Dan Patrick about this. I'm walking through the arena, and he says, I can't do what you do.
Says that to you?
Yes. And I look but it was before he was doing radio, right? It was just 3 hours of just giving opinions on things. And he's someone who's very careful. He's not cruel. When he criticizes somebody, it's usually fair. Like, this is part of it. When I say the two things almost can't coexist, likability and strong opinion giving, Dan doesn't give a ton of strong opinions, but when he does, like strong critical opinions, but when he does, they land with more resonance than others because he's picking his spots and not always doing that. It's not a daily conceit. And his audience, the audience that he has a very unique and special connection with, actually connects with him there. This is a person that I like because he's not out here pretending or behaving as if he's a know-it-all and that he knows better and more than anyone in sports. But that attitude does pay. Like, Dan Patrick's an outlier. It's much easier to do what it is that I'm doing or whatever it is. And I say all of this because I was legitimately confused. I'm not saying it's because I'm better at anything than Dan Patrick, other than being more strongly opinionated in ways that would bother people than Dan Patrick is.
I would say two things. Number one, Dan Patrick Show started October 2007, so they're coming up on their 20th year anniversary soon too. Number two, I don't know. Dan sometimes comes across as a know-it-all. DP comes across as like a little bit like, hey, look, you guys don't understand this. I understand this. And look, I don't mind it, but I can definitely sense those vibes.
I'm with you.
It's definitely not like a Tim Kirkjian or a Scott Van Pelt kind of curiosity of like, I don't explain it to me.
Ernie Johnson.
Or Ernie.
But those guys are all
Ernie's a
different.
good one.
Those are guys that Ernie Johnson's the point guard, having other people feed opinions. Kirkjian's a factual reporter kind of guy. SVP, another guy that's kind of a point guard, giving, this guy from the game is going to talk about this or whatever. When you're talking about sports opinion givers, you kind of have to be a know-it-all because you're talking for 5 hours a day.
Rich Eisen? Does Rich Eisen?
Oh, no.
No? Not likable?
I just don't. I'm not saying he comes off as like a jerk, but I don't think of like, so likable. Like, he's somewhere in the middle.
It's really tough to give opinions and remain likable. Like, that's kind of the whole thing. Everyone that we're going to talk about in sports media who is likable, it's through spots where they're just giving you little bits of information or they're hosting and setting up other people.
As we talk about Pablo, though, and the point that we were making about the liberal elites, these used to be known as blue check marks, right? And there is a recoil when you get the applause of a media entity. When I'm sitting here telling you, Amin, people don't like journalism and they don't like journalists. And so all of that makes it a difficult thing to overcome if you don't have any respect for journalism. And on top of that, journalism has been so distorted that what Stephen A. Smith or Emmanuel Acho or whoever it is, or Colin Cowherd, whoever it is that's in the audience acquisition business, you see the compromises that end up getting made in search of that audience. And as the competition grows stronger, that's only going to get worse and worse. Like, you have to keep up. I don't know why it is that Chris Cody has a disdain or finds Rich Eisen something
I said
less
in the
than
middle.
likable.
Wow. He's not. I put him in the Dan Patrick. I don't see Dan Patrick in the Tim Kirkjian category. I like Dan Patrick, but these guys are in the middle. Like, I don't see Eisen and Patrick as these like super likable. No one ever disagrees. Like, these guys.
It's not. Likability is not a consensus.
Huge breaking news regarding Tony Romas. We have found out that not only did the last Tony Romas in Miami close in March of 2020 due to COVID, but Tony Romas, not just a place for ribs anymore. They've expanded their menu to focus on a variety for all guests.
I will never forgive you, COVID. Going to bring in Juju Gotti here in a moment to talk about an assortment of stuff, but I saw a sweep over Tony's face this morning, and he can wrap a lot of things in bravado, in confidence that may or may not be real. So over the course of this week, he has seemed very confident about what he's about to do in Vegas, even though one of the things he's about to do in Vegas is fight with someone who's a professional fighter, which seems stupid. And I saw this morning on his face, oh, it's registering. He realizes now that he's walking into something this weekend that's slightly more dangerous than he thinks it is, because he heard sparring and thinks he knows the guy he's fighting well enough to know how he defines sparring.
So, as this has been building up, shout out to my boy Justin, who's setting up everything over at Extreme Couture, one of the best MMA gyms on the planet. Home of Francis Ngannou, world champions Aljamain Sterling, Sean Strickland, all these different guys. I'm going to be working out with Coach Eric Nixick, who's 3-time MMA Coach of the Year. Incredible guy. And then I was like, you know what? What can we do to elevate, right? Like, just working out an MMA workout is not enough. How can I do more? How can I jump out of the airplane? So my buddy Justin has a really good connection with Brad Tavares, who happens to be the tied wins record holder for the middleweight division in the UFC. And I'm like, why don't we get in a spar session? And my dude Justin's like, yeah, absolutely. I'll set it up. Brad's an awesome guy. He'll take it easy on you. You guys will do stuff in the middle of the octagon, and it'll be sick. And I'm like, all right, awesome, let's do it. So as the week has been going on, I'm not worried about doing a live show in front of people at the Circa. Who cares about that? That's not.
That'll be fun.
That's going to be fun.
First
it's gonna be
time
awesome.
back since we wrecked downtown there.
Exactly
and Greg
right.
Cody owned Vegas like only Wayne Newton ever had.
Exactly right. Luckily, I saved Wayne Newton's life that day.
Also, that's right.
Put a paw out there, remember?
You did save the life of Wayne Newton. You don't get a near enough credit for that.
I'll never forget that.
People don't remember that.
He was going to fall off the stage. It would have been broken, and then he would have broken like porcon on the floor.
Shattered into million
would have
pieces.
ruined the pool party. Yes. A million clay pieces would have been on the floor, all of them covered in makeup.
I just would have had a shirt on, holding it. So Brad Tavares, known great guy, and now it's starting to hit me all right, we leave tomorrow over to Vegas, and we're basically flying from Miami. We touch down in Vegas. I put my bags down, and I go to the gym. So I'm thinking I don't really have enough time to really register. All right, I'm going to have to stand in there with an absolute born killer.
Time out.
You got that 20 or full?
Yes. Here, airport, check in. What would you like to drink, sir? Oh, I'll have water with ice. Drink it.
Hydration.
Read a magazine. Look out the window.
It's a John Wick. It's a John Wick movie. You get off the plane and you just immediately start sparring a UFC fighter.
Plane lands. Drag bag behind you.
Head to the Circa. Beautiful Circa. Drop off my bag.
Check in.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. How long have you been staying? Oh, yes, thank you. All right. Order the Uber. Straight to the UFC gym.
Yeah.
Where this dude is gonna slap you around.
Yeah.
That's your. Hold on, man.
Yeah.
Is Lewis fighting him too at the same time?
Lewis said no. Lewis is not fighting him at the same time. I tried to urge Lewis, hey, be part of the workout. He's not much of a workout guguy, so he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna do the workout. I'll commentate on you. Lewis obviously looking very good. Lewis is like a 155er. Dan.
He'll offer helpful critique and mock
from
you.
far away.
That's
yes,
from very far away. Yes. I do like the idea of you just having either a duffel bag or a small piece of luggage with wheels, and all of a sudden, right behind the wheel of the airplane as it lands, you immediately have to start fighting as soon as you get off the plane with an MMA fighter. Juju, before we get to the stuff that Tony's doing in Las Vegas, anything, and I want to get to John Jones in a second as well, anything from the MMA world that you're finding interesting as Tony goes to celebrate this weekend in Vegas?
Yes, there's been wonderful fights over the past couple of weeks, but there was one thing I didn't get to ask my brother Tony about, and I want his opinion. Bellotto got hit with a kick from the ground, an illegal kick, and it looked like he thought about it for a second and then went into, I'm out of it. I'll disqualify him. What is your take, Tony?
Faker?
What happened there?
You thought there was a UFC faker?
I think it's playing the game. If you're down and you can't get kicked and it's an illegal kick, why go up and try and restart the fight back on your feet when you can kind of DQ the guy, right? And this was something that happened to Aljamain Sterling when he fought Petr Yan. There was a neck issue where Petr Yan kneed him while Aljamain Sterling was on the ground, and he won the title by disqualification, and people were really pissed about that, but he ended up having to get his neck fused. So there's reasons why, there's reasons why.
So not a faker? Faker or not a faker? Faker
Aljamain
or
Sterling,
not a faker?
not a faker. This guy,
Aljamain.
possibly faker because of the fact that he knew the rules.
Faker or not faker? Not possibly faker. Have an
Dan,
opinion.
as you know,
have an opinion.
I'm going to be part of the UFC Brotherhood coming up, and I cannot talk about fakers or not fakers, Dan.
That's how you stay likable.
Imagine
right
Brad Tavares is going to hear that I said UFC
how you
faker,
do it.
and then all of a sudden kicks
how
me
you
in the
do it.
neck,
Yes.
and my neck flies off.
That's right.
And
I
then
have
he
a
says,
kid.
then he says, we're just faking. I was just
Exactly,
faking.
exactly.
Yes.
I can't have that.
My favorite part about Tony's itinerary, Juju, I don't know if you know this. He said, and then at 10 o'clock I have a dinner. Like, you think you're gonna go around?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I want to give you the full itinerary. Obviously, we go to the circle, we drop off our stuff, we go to Extreme Couture, we do the workout. I fight Brad Tavares. From there, we go back to the circle. I'm gonna freshen up. We actually have a party, a pre-UFC 317 party with Cuervo that we're going to be doing at the Dave & Buster's down in Henderson. So I'm going to be going from there, from the fight to Dave & Buster's, doing our thing.
Is
Love
this like
it.
a meet and greet?
It's not a meet and greet. I mean, for me, if
Like,
you want
are
to come
people
meet
coming?
me, yeah, sure.
People are coming to see you.
I'm obviously going to be the winner of the fight, so people are going to probably want to see me. Wow, this guy who doesn't fight all of a sudden fights a professional and
For
wins.
the record, we have been a number of places where not only do we do meet and greet, but the people who are greeting us are bringing actual delicious meat. So there is the possibility that you get meat brought to you at the meet and greet that you're doing in Henderson after you get on an airplane and fight someone on the tarmac.
Yeah, and then Saturday night we've got all people invited. MMA Hangout Live Saturday from the Circle Hotel.
All people,
baby.
Circa takes care of us. They took good care of us.
Anybody in Las Vegas.
That's their slogan. All people.
All people.
A place for ribs is also their slogan. That's all now available.
Overlooking Stadium Swim, it's presented by Boost Mobile. The MMA Hangout starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, streaming on all Le Batard channels. And we're very excited, Dan, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried. And we actually have a heart rate monitor on me right now that we're practicing on.
No.
Yeah, to show, all right, what's the heart rate of
the baseline? What's
the baseline? What the baseline is right now, then what the baseline is for the workout and how that's going to be. And then when we actually are about to step into the octagon, that's why I wanted to get this. I told Kristen, go get me a heart rate monitor because I feel like yes, I do have a baby. What I feel like I'm going to be more, the heart rate is going to be higher is when I'm stepping into the actual octagon to fight him more so than the workout itself.
This is...
You were saying?
No, this is going to be insane.
Thank you. That's the point.
I hope he doesn't take it easy on you.
10 p.m. dinner.
He needs to not take it easy on you. He needs to basically choke you out.
Chris, 10 p.m. It's Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
Grow up.
Hey,
Be an
that's
adult.
What's the perfect time for dinner? I say 7:45.
In Vegas?
7:45.
In Vegas,
Just in
10
general.
PM. Earlier than 10 p.m., you're nuts in Vegas.
Plus, we got the free
7:45.
party.
Perfect time for dinner.
Prime time.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is 7:45 the perfect time for dinner? I will tell you that lately I've been eating at 4 p.m. is my last meal.
Oh, because you're old.
Like stew. Yes, that's right. Don't talk to me about being old. You're old lately. You're feeling old lately.
Yes, we will get to that in a little bit. Thursday Thunder is presented by DraftKings.
Yeah.
DraftKings, the crown is yours. Juju, go ahead.
The first leg of Thursday Thunder, I had my sister Caitlin Clark under 20.5 points, but breaking news, she's out with a groin injury tonight, and she will not be playing. So instead of her, I'm going with Kelsino Mitchell over 17.5 points tonight.
Aren't you scared of the Caitlin Clark unders the way that you're scared of Patrick Mahomes unders?
I used to be, but not again, not anymore. I see something in Caitlin, and it's neither here nor there. But I saw that injury a little earlier than the people saw it.
Really? So that's why so you thought you thought you were doing what all the best gamblers do, which is I have some information on injury that is money and value, but it was confirmed and you lost. You didn't lose your money, but you lost your opportunity.
Yes, sir. Lost the opportunity.
You were too right, Juju. You were a little less right. She would have still played, but you're too right.
Right. Next leg, I'm going with the superstar right now. The great performance last game, 30-point performance from Aaliyah Boston. So this game, I definitely think she's going to have to get it. Without Caitlin Clark, 14.5 points over that for sure.
Says 15.5 on the graphic we have here.
That's how they do me. You know they do me like that.
You'll get it. You'll win that one.
She's going to score 60, so it doesn't matter either way.
Why did they do
Right.
it like that? Who's they?
Aaliyah Boston Market.
And what do they do? Who's they and what do they do?
No, that's too long of a story,
all right.
Dan.
Neither here nor there, Juju.
But it's all of them? Is it all the people who have been invited to Circa? Is that also they? It's, no?
All people.
None of
It's
our people
all-
at Circle.
None of them. Okay.
Juju, let them know. Is it here or is it there?
It is way down there.
It
It's
is.
too far.
Has to be one of them, right?
It's
No,
neither
neither.
here nor there.
Neither here nor
everywhere.
there. That's what I was
Has to
trying
always be one of them.
No, it's neither here nor there.
No, it doesn't. It's usually neither here nor there, somewhere else.
Then where is it?
Touche, Tache. The last leg, I'm going with the surging Washington Mystics. They've been playing great lately. Shakira Austin, oh my goodness, she's locked in these days. Kiki, I see you. They're going against the Vegas Aces tonight, who has a little hitch in their giddy up right now. They beat the dog crap out of the Sun last night, but I could have beat the Sun. Let's just keep it real. I'm going with the Washington Mystics plus 8.5 points tonight against the Aces. Lock it in.
Says 0.8 plus 8 on the graphic.
Ah, dang it.
Oh, that's how they do you. Oh, no.
That's what they do. I don't understand how it changed from the time the graphic was made to seconds
Guys.
later. There's another half point or point in there.
This is gambling, man. Things change.
That's true.
Information is
You're right.
changing.
That
You got to
is-
lock in quick.
Do you have any more for us WNBA related, Juju? I'm looking forward to Alley-Oop making its return after a really successful debut during the NBA playoffs. During the WNBA playoffs, I assume, is when it'll be back. What else do you have for us on this front?
Yes, sir. Maybe a little bit before that. You know, we got a lot of stories happening. But last night, the New York Liberty took out the Golden State Valkyrie. But Kate Martin, oh my goodness, she was so wet behind the three-point line. Tiffany Hayes, Kayla Thornton. That Valkyrie team isn't like a regular expansion team who you gotta, okay, let's give them a couple of years and they'll be all right. Those girls are contenders right now. I just want to throw a salute out to Golden State and Valhalla.
Shout out Kate Martin.
The polls we're going to get, I want to get to some of these polls here. We're going to have Pitch Clock is going to be later on in the show, and we're also going to relive some of the watch party that we did with Mero in the event that some of you missed some of the highlights from that. We're going to have that for you, but let's update the polls here. Usually we do this in the post game, but I'd like to do some of this now because the polls have been on fire lately. What do you have, Juju?
Would you ever wear any bowling shoes without socks? Oh, Greg.
So gross.
97% of the audience says no, they will not.
I suppose it changes a little bit if you're the only one wearing those bowling shoes, but it's still really foul. And furthermore, if you ask me, what are the most uncomfortable soles anywhere in shoes? Now, I'm not going to go high heels or ladies' shoes, although I find them personally comfortable whenever I wear them. Bowling shoes is where I go when I say, like, least comfortable bottoms of shoes. It's a bad idea for a number of reasons. Disgusting, but also you need socks with bowling shoes more than any other shoe.
Dress shoes, I'd go.
Yeah,
I'd
those
nominate.
suck. But bowling shoes are probably the closest to dress shoe of any other shoe.
No, but dress shoes done well don't have those discomforts. Bowling shoes are
that's
all
right.
cheap.
Get the foot away.
Can I point out that bowling shoes biggest scam ever? You could just wear sneakers.
Yeah.
Like bowling shoes are from a time where people were all wearing hard bottom shoes.
No,
and
you
with
need some slide. You need some. Are you a bad bowler? You need some slide on those soles. Sneakers you'll get stuck. In fact, I will tell you, one of those nights at Tony Roma's, a place for ribs, we went bowling afterward, and I thought it'd be funny. It was
What a night.
Yeah, right? Big night. Brooks Reed, Long Island Iced Tea. And look, I'm going to tell you this story. This is how I learned this because I don't know anything about bowling, but you'll find this funny. I'm like, I'll be funny. It's funny. I'll go down and I'll run down the lane, and then I'll knock down the pins by sliding down the lane.
Like a seal?
With your body.
Yeah, right,
like
but-
a seal
that's
on
right.
like a glacier?
Right, but like a seal that was wearing a leather jacket and didn't realize that there would be no slide, and I'd just land like a javelin, and so I didn't get to any of the pins. I just flopped out, and I'm in the middle of the lane with my feet going and hitting me like, my feet. Yeah, no, I mean,
Holding like a chair?
I just landed, and because the leather
Tarantula?
jacket didn't have any give. You need to slide on a court on a lane, bowling lane.
You went from a popular eatery to a bowling alley with a leather jacket on. Was this 1952? What was going on? How much grease
I went
was
to
in
a
your
soda
hair?
shop that I got after that from a soda jerk, a wonderful ice cream.
You went to
malt
Wall's Ice
afterward.
Cream right across the
hand-spun
street, huh? You went to the
milkshake.
62nd and US 1 Tony Roma's. I know exactly which one you went to.
Did the T-Birds mess with you outside? Hey, Le Batard. Hey, punk. I don't like you on our turf. And you're like, hey, guys, I want no problems. And then you pull out a switchblade that looked like a comb. Hey, who wants to dance?
That's exactly
And
how
then he
it
literally
happened.
broke out into song.
What else do you have on the polls, Juju?
Has the draft gone from what is this guy to who is this guy? 92% of the audience says yes, it has.
92%, yo.
Dang it.
Is it as
And
fun
so-
as it used to be, guys? Forgive me for missing it last night, but in terms of once upon a time, just seeing what Patrick Ewing was wearing is what people were tuning in to the draft for. Is it less interesting on that front as just a fashion statement? Is it all less interesting because we have more information than we've ever had, but we feel like we know less on draft night than we've ever known?
There's Dan right outside the bowling alley. He took his leather jacket off.
So you have it being a comb that turns into a switchblade.
That you flip open. Like, that's the part.
Comes out.
I got to ask Valerie to get me one of those.
I would also say Shams from the draft last night. You work for ESPN now. You're a little quick on the draw for the announcing these picks through your Twitter. I'm trying to catch up. Now I know something that's happening. You're messing up the TV product. But salute to Shams. I love
Didn't
you.
Jordan Schultz get in trouble for that because the leagues are now trying to ban their information guys from doing that? I felt like Jordan Schultz was a renegade who tried to do that. Shams was doing it again last night? I thought they didn't do that anymore.
It was right before his hits. He'll be like, Washington has traded the rights to this and this and this and this. And I'm like, wait, what? And then they'll draft the person. And I'm like, okay, this could have waited until you told me on TV, brother. But I'm nitpicking my brother Shams. I love you, bro.
Juju, me and Amin were talking about it earlier. The way that the trades were getting announced, you didn't really know who was going where. Like, you had Atlanta picking for New Orleans, but then they didn't really mention that the pick was going over to New Orleans. And Portland had picked a guy from Memphis, but Memphis was going to a guy from Sacramento. And it's like, where was the Chinese guy going? I don't know. Like, he put on a Memphis hat, but he's going to Portland. It's like, how can we make these things easier? Can we just give him the hat of the team?
Was
that
it
they're
less
gonna
of an
go
event?
for?
Was it less of an event last night than it usually is? Has it been diluted over the years? I used to enjoy it. I don't watch it anymore for a number of different reasons that, again, have to do with the auctioning off of where it is that people with this talent should have freedoms, and then they got to go to Toronto and mutter under their breath, bleep.
Or Utah.
I'm one of the top 10 most talented people available in the world. Damn it, I have to go to Utah.
Salt Lake City.
I think Tony is right. At least switch the hat up, Adam Silver. Like, don't give him a Toronto hat if he's headed to New Orleans, brother. Let us see that hat. Neither here nor there.
It was in Brooklyn, that's why.
Are we weeks away from Canada and France wiping the block with us in basketball? 58% of the audience says, yes, we are.
Whoa. They're coming.
Man.
It's
The great-
insane. Juju,
the
can you
French-
speak some sense into
the
red,
French-
white, and blue USA
French are
basketball,
coming.
please?
Exactly. I got a movie for you to watch. It's called Court of Gold. Go get you some.
Exactly right.
And another movie to watch, Band of Brothers.
Exactly
Get you
right.
some.
Watch it sometime.
How about Miracle on Ice, buddy? And tell me the Rooskies are coming next, huh? What happened to you?
Have you ever used the word hoomst? 56% of the audience says no, they haven't.
You haven't lived.
Right. This is the most important poll of the day. Who looks more like a lunch lady? Kelly Olynyk or Luis Scola?
I think it's Kelly.
Yeah?
I think Kelly looks like the nice one.
Yeah, Luis Scola does not give you any extra whatever you're supposed to have.
Mashed
Like,
potatoes.
nah. Yeah.
Stingy with the mashed potatoes.
53% of the audience says Kelly Olynyk.
Okay, this is what's wrong about that poll, and I will never forgive you people for this. Put a hairnet on Scola. If you put a hairnet on Scola, he wins that poll.
Put a hairnet on Kelly Olynyk.
That's the part, though. You don't have to do anything to Kelly.
That's true.
He's already got that little thin headband, which makes it look like he's wearing the hairnet. So it's kind of what already does it.
Scola had one too. He had to keep that down.
Scola's the one that started that.
The originator.
Before that, everyone wore just regular headbands. Scola said, "No, just give me shoestring. I'll do that."
Do you know how brave that is to play NBA basketball as with a hair bun?
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Lou Amundsen.
Oh, that's my guy, man. Sweet Lou.
Shaq, how dare you? If you are an athlete and your last name is Coward, do you think about changing your name? 85% of the audience says yes, they do. And part B to that poll, if your last name is Coward, should you change your first name to Bill? 77% of the audience says yes, you should, and those are your polls.
Thank you, Juju. We will talk to you again next week, sir. Good to see you. I hope that Thursday Thunder, the parlay hits. He's been great on 2 for 3. You guys cheated there by trying to make that poll biased for Olynyk by putting something in his hair that indeed made him look more like a lunch
lady.
lady.
What's in his hair all the time. So he looks more like a lunch lady.
I know, but this is what Scola's got that Olynyk does not have, that the lunch lady also has. Put Scola back up there.
Scowl?
No, it's not the scowl. It is, and I hate to say this, it's the stubble.
The 5 o'clock shadow.
No,
no, he's right.
Okay,
he's right.
No, hold on. This is why people like Kirkshin. This is why people like Scott Van Pelt.
Yep,
that's correct.
Because they're nice people.
That is correct.
And Dan
is that from Big Mac?
I saw Big Mac this morning. He watched.
For those who do not know and are listening instead of watching, I have a hat in front of me, and Big Mac is the person who protects our carport. People around here get very used to the inside jokes that alienate the audience, and yes, it is a hat that looks like the one Big Mac wears that is a leftover from last night and the baseball show that we did.
I was pointing out that now on the screen you have Luis Scola with a little tiny headband and... Still thinking Kelly Olynyk looks more like a lunch lady.
Stop talking.
So I have in front of me this top hat, and this is Jeremy's idea from last night that we never got to, and there are papers in here. And what was I supposed to do with this, Jeremy, that I never did with it?
You would
rabbit?
Take out a piece of paper, name the baseball term or name, and just have Tim Kirkshin start talking about it.
We'll play that with me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Switch hitters.
Chipper Jones.
Ooh,
good game. I'm glad we played it.
You want to do one more?
Would have been really good last night.
One more.
One for Tony.
One more. Let's see. I'll do one.
Oh, Tony's doing this one?
You're
All right,
gonna
go.
do one? I think this would be better with Kirkshin.
Yeah, come on.
Just phrases. Okay. Batting gloves.
Oh, listen. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vlad Guerrero, the dad, never needed the batting gloves. You know what he did to the calluses, Dan? Pissed on him. Mm-hmm. That's what you would do to open up the calluses and clean them out. All of a sudden, Moises Alou too. But Vladdy would sit up there. Wha!
You know that for a fact.
Yeah, of course. That's what you always do.
I know it for a fact with Moises Alou. I did not know it for a fact with Vlad Guerrero Sr.
Now you know.
The urine is something that he would use on his hands to soften the calluses.
Yep. Soften the calluses.
Had you not heard that before, Chris Cody?
I had not heard that urinating on calluses helps.
Yeah, dude. That and jellyfish.
Doesn't Chad Ochocinco also do something with urine?
Putting a jellyfish on your calluses helps them?
No. When you know, that kind of thing.
I'm kidding.
Like Nolan Ryan used pickle juice. Why don't we just use pickle juice instead of urine?
It seems like Moises Alou used the urine to toughen his skin so that it would eliminate calluses. So the calluses wouldn't even exist. His skin was so tough already.
All right, here we go. This is from November 2024. Chad Ochocinco had a secret formula for staying healthy. He says he used to collect warm urine from his teammates, heat it up, and put my ankle in it for 30 minutes to fend off ankle sprains.
I don't know if I believe all the stuff that Ochocinco says, because I think sometimes he says things like that in order for people to react to things like
Quote,
that.
yeah, it worked. There's a reason I've never been injured. Home remedies. I'm sitting here living proof.
I wonder if different teammates had, like, better like their urine had.
Well, that's the part
made
that
my
I don't
ankle
believe.
better.
Yeah, that's
quicker.
the part I don't believe. What was wrong with Ocho Cinco's healing urine?
It's a good thing. This is how I was able to collect it all at one time, right? You got team meetings in the morning, right? Everybody, hey, yo, boy, do me a favor, boy. My ankle kind of fucked up. I need you to all drink water all at once. So when we break meeting, if y'all pee, it's a bucket in the bathroom. Boom. Y'all all peeing in that bucket now for me.
Didn't he say, you said at the beginning that he warms it up?
Yeah.
In a
So he's, like,
microwave?
microwaving urine?
I'm assuming he has a special urine microwave.
Oh, wow.
The sun maybe just leaves it outside.
Maybe he leaves it outside. There you go. Although
Sun-dried piss.
That
A hot
can't be
plate.
true. It can't be true.
You think he's lying?
I think his teammates wouldn't participate.
Like,
That's
what do you
I
think? What do you think happened the first time that he asked? Because it's like it's one thing if you show up, you're just drafted by the team that he's on. He's been doing this for a few years. You have some teammates say, "Hey, look, yeah, this is what Ocho does sometimes,
does
right?"
this, yeah.
But the first time that he said, "Hey guys, I have this idea," what do you think the reaction was in that locker room?
Again, don't believe the story.
Well, first of all, he talks about this is from February 2016, so he's been talking about this for almost a decade at least, right? And this is what I'm thinking. He's talking about his grandmother was the one that put him onto this, right? And this is the quote right here. I would soak my ankle in warm urine. That was the answer he gave when someone asked, how did you get over ankle sprains? Amari Cooper says, man, my ankle's so fat it don't make no sense. And Chad Johnson responded, soak it in warm urine.
Do you think he tried cold urine first?
The thing that I'm saying is that if he needs a lot of urine and he needs it to be warm, he can use and collect his own urine and then microwave it in order to avoid the embarrassment of asking his teammates to help him with their urine.
So this is from March 2012. I never go out at night, and the night I do, I got peed on by a real lion. I feel honored. Who can say they got peed on by a lion? Someone asked him, how in the world did you even get close enough to a lion to get peed on? And he said, I wasn't that close. He sprayed like a water gun, which is how lions pee, by the way. It's true.
I'm seeing here that he said TJ Hushman Zeta had the best urine.
Zada, that's a
Hushman Zada.
He had the best urine, it says here.
Put it on the
I made that
poll
up.
at Le Batard Show. Did TJ Husmanzada have the most healing urine at Le Batard Show?
I can't believe
Put
some
it
of
in,
you-
he's like, that's the good stuff.
Oh my God, I feel so much better.
I can't believe some of you find such a horrific and emotionally draining accident so funny. I'm disgusted at all of you who laughed. That's Chad Ochocinco, March 2012, because he got peed on by a lion.
I have never seen Amin do more or better research quickly, and also it would appear that the urine Google search with Ocho Cinco has revealed a lion's urine when Amin was only looking for the teammates of Bengals, the Bengals urine. He wasn't looking for lion urine, but that came up anyway.
Different cat, yeah.
Never played in Detroit, but somehow still got lion urine.
I turned TJ into a former rock station in South Florida. Zeta.
Roy, I'm glad that we teased why it is that you're feeling old these days. You looked.
Ooh, we're getting back to it.
You
Nice.
looked right in my face and you called me old when you lately have been feeling old. And the hockey playoffs, I believe, ransacked you and made you feel even older.
Yeah, it's not just that because I'm doing Learn to Play. The Panthers and USA Hockey and some other teams in the league have formed a partnership where they actually teach hockey to, average citizens.
It's
And
Roy and a bunch of 12-year-olds.
No, this is adult Learn to Play. Right?
I love that
that
visual, though.
Two separate things. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a month now. I've 4 or 5 sessions, and I'm getting better.
Your voice got higher there. I don't know if you're really getting better.
I like him. I'm getting better.
But I'm getting older.
Roy, now, what's the recovery like? I got to assume you're slipping and falling a couple of times because, you're trying to...
That's why I stopped rollerblading. It was too high up. I'm
Another
falling
visual
down.
I want to see.
Big tree fall hard, Dan.
You have elbow pads on?
Dan in the booty shorts. Right there on Ocean. Just...
Yeah, ass hanging out the back.
Yeah. Well, I almost broke my arm last week. The transition from skating forward to skating backwards as I was turning went too far, and I fell. But my arm, which was holding my stick, my left arm, was behind me, and that's where I fell. And I was probably an inch or two from breaking my arm.
Is it sore now? Does it still hurt?
It's still sore, yes.
All right, I'll tell you what we can do. Guys, Jeremy, Chris, Tony, let's go pee. Oh, there's a
Yes.
bucket in the bathroom right now.
Get their microwave ready.
Get that. We'll put it in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Better quality. The
Ooh.
microwave strips nutrients.
Yeah.
Air fryer, Do a good job. And
Attaboy.
stick it in there, warmed up.
Put that elbow in some urine.
One at a time. I'd like each of you to go out, fill a bucket now with urine, bring it back, and have Roy soak his elbow in it during the last hour of the show.
I've got more Chad Johnson quotes. The funny thing about it is that I had some remedies that I used. Nobody believed me. If it wasn't enough of mine, I would have to get my teammates' urine. I put my ankle that's swollen or the one that's sprained and warm the urine up really hot. Sit my foot in the urine. If I sprained my ankle on a Wednesday and we play Sunday, by the time I got to Friday, I was able to do that fast walk through practice on Friday and play the game fully healthy on Sunday. There you go.
Seems legit.
I like it.
Tony, I want you to go after Chris and fill a bucket with urine. And you got to drink some water. That's what Ocho
stay
Cinco,
hydrated. Obviously, fighting Brad Tavares on Friday.
I want to do something that we started yesterday, and I want to do it again because I want as much information from Amin as we can possibly get on this. Feel free to load up your NBA questions here for Amin so that we can get a lot of stuff from him. Speed him up. And let's get moving on giving people the maximum amount of Amin El-Hassan basketball information on a day that people want basketball information. I don't know what it is that you saw last night that was most interesting to you. You objected to me starting with the Pelicans and Nets as people that are as teams that were made fun of last night. So what did you find most interesting about last night?
Well, I did find interesting the fact that the Pelicans made this massive bet on their future, on their immediate future, in order to get someone who exhibits many of the similar kind of pitfalls of the guy they already have. And so I look at this Pelicans team, I don't see a full roster. I don't see a full identity. And I'm thinking to myself, what gave Joe Dumars and the Pelicans the confidence that this is all going to work itself out in the next 12 months? That was the most interesting thing to me.
I want the fast music that we give to Diana Rossini so that we can move this along and get as much basketball information as possible before we soak your elbow in some communal urine.
Hot urine.
I just did mine. Now Tony's doing his.
Thank you. Jeremy will
Pass
be
the bowl
next.
around.
We'll all go and we'll do this. Can you please tell me, Kyrie Irving, 3 years, $119 million. What did you think of that?
So Kyrie Irving must have had the most leverage of a man who just tore his ACL in the history of the NBA, right? And it's true because Nico Harrison needed him. They need him. If he was going to say, I'm opting out and I'm going to sign somewhere else, the Mavericks would have been screwed. They don't really have a recourse to replace what Kyrie does on that roster. So great for him. I know some people might look at it and say, wait, he took a pay cut. No, he took $43 million guaranteed and said, I'd rather have $119 guaranteed for over the next 3 years. Great move by Kyrie.
Bill Simmons on the Heat's first-round pick. Quote, he fills the box score. He's just going to be good. It really is annoying to me. Then they'll sign Kuminga, and guess what? He'll be good for them, too. Then all of a sudden we'll be like, Jesus Christ, we're back with the Heat. I thought we killed them. We thought they were dead.
I think that's a pretty accurate depiction of the Miami Heat. Look, the biggest question mark for me there is Jonathan Kuminga, who showed flashes but couldn't really adapt to the system that the Warriors were running. I believe here in Miami he'd get more freedom. He'd be featured a lot more, which would be great for him and his development. But Spo has a way of doing things as well, so he's going to have to adjust to that as well. But, yeah, I could see this Miami Heat team next year being like a 5 seed and everyone thinking, I thought it was over for them. How are they back here?
Why isn't Wiggins what Kuminga was if you're giving the Heat that much credit on that?
I think Wiggins is a finished product. He is what he is. He was what he was when they won a championship. That was the best version of him, but it was still the inconsistency. Everyone says, the guy's an all-star. He was an all-star because the first half of that year, he was amazing. And as soon as he made the all-star game, everything fell off a cliff until they got to the playoffs, and he showed up big time in those conference finals, especially guarding Luka Doncic against the Mavericks. But overall, his career was always up and down, up and down, up and down. You hope that Kuminga, who's a lot younger, is about 23 years old, he's got more opportunity, more runway to become a more consistent basketball player.
Best trade so far?
Woof. Best trade so far.
Faster.
Grrr.
Faster. That's what
Grrr.
the game is. You were so
Is it
confident
Atlanta?
yesterday. You looked me in the eye. You gave one-word answers, and you were so confident. But now
know.
we've turned up the heat on
The
this.
heat has gone
The
up.
music is moving fast, and
You
now
know
you have
what?
to check your computer.
I do.
That's not
I'll
the way this
filibuster for
works.
you. I'll filibuster for you.
Uh-huh.
Peas filling up nicely. I thought I didn't have enough in the tank. Went extra.
Oh.
It was extra yellow. I saw you guys haven't been hydrating.
You gotta
There
hydrate.
wasn't a
That's why I
lot-
was trying to drink water.
I think three of us have done it now, and there's plenty in there.
Okay, put it there for Roy to soak his elbow, and he can
Oh
tell
my
us whether
God,
it
it
feels
smells
better.
in here.
It looks like a lot
Asparagus.
of
Who had the
yellow.
asparagus?
That was me last night. Sorry.
Is that asparagus the only thing that makes the urine smell bad? Put it on the poll at LeBatard
Oh
Show.
my
Is
God.
asparagus? Yeah, it's a lot.
It smells so bad in here.
Yes.
You know what happens when I drink café con leche? It smells like café.
Really?
You guys
we
need
heat
to
this
drink
up?
more water. I told you guys
That was my
about
bad.
the
That was my
Floyd Mayweather. The first time I saw that dehydrated can produce brown urine is when Floyd Mayweather wasn't drinking enough water in one of those 24/7 reality shows. You guys need to drink more
Dude,
water.
I've had that happen where I took a whiz and I was like, oh my God, I need to drink way more water. But to answer your question, it's still the Rockets getting Kevin Durant because what they gave up did not materially impact their core or their future. They managed to add a Hall of Famer to a team that was already pretty good without giving up too much.
Have you heard anyone other than Sampson be critical of that trade for the Rockets?
Where are you going to do it?
Roy's
I'm
actually
watching
doing
Roy.
Is it warm or hot?
Man.
It doesn't like hurt, right? It's not too hot.
It's warm.
Have you heard anybody other than Sampson criticize that trade for the Rockets? The only way that trade doesn't work is if Durant gets hurt, I think.
And even if he does get hurt, you didn't give up all that much. You still have plenty of people at each one of those positions that they gave up in those players to fill in the gaps. No, I haven't heard anyone other than Sampson say it was a bad deal for the Rockets. If anything, people said the Suns should have got more. Oh, I can smell it, I think. Or is that just my brain?
It's starting to feel better.
How did Utah do in the NBA draft?
Dude, it smells so bad.
Well, it all depends if Ace Bailey's going to play there. You know, look, Danny Ainge is always a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum. And so I kind of like the ballsiness of saying, I'm going to take the guy who said he didn't want to be here. But the problem there is the guy didn't want to be here. So you want to have some sort of kind of confirmation that he's going to be playing for you. Otherwise, you've just entered a Steve Francis type situation where you use a good draft pick to draft a great player who does not want to be playing for your team.
This is a new low for it. It legitimately smells like urine in here.
Percentage of chance Jaylen Brown or Derek White gets traded.
Or I would say 60 to 70%. It's
Wow.
a good chance.
Wow.
I don't think Brown would be the guy. It would probably be Derek White. But the Celtics, as I said yesterday, are a move away from being under the apron, under the tax. And I think that's a little too enticing when you're that close for a team that's trying to cut costs. So I'm a really big fan of the subreddit hypothetical situations. It might be my second most favorite. My favorite, of course, is Bar Rescue. Bar Rescue subreddit, number one. But number two is hypothetical situations. And I came across one yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is a good question. Would you rather have telekinesis, the power to move things with your mind, or $250 million? And I think the answer is less clear than I think most people. Oh, just give me $250 million. But if you can move things with your mind, man, there's no telling how much money you could make, right? First of all, just as a novelty act, right? You go to America's Got Talent and all that stuff, and then you have a Vegas residency, just moving things with your mind. Everyone says, oh, it's strings and all that stuff. You get paid crazy. David Copperfield? That dude makes like $40 million a year, and he doesn't have actual magic, right? If you have telekinesis, you got actual magic. But then, now you think about it, you go to casino, right? And you say, oh, I'm going to bet it all on black. And then you make the ball boop, 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 land on
But
black.
this is a lot of work I have to do to acquire a lot of money when you're giving me the option to just acquire a lot of money. Yeah. I don't have to do all this work of being an...
But it's a cool power. You'd have a
it
power
would be
that no
cool.
one else has.
You make a ton of money. And also, you can use the power for other things that money can't buy, right? Hey, I'm playing basketball. Tony, you hoop. Wouldn't it be nice to, like, magically...
To never miss?
Yeah, like, basically use the power of your mind and say, no, it's not going off.
Can I just
off
clear
right.
traffic?
You'd be Steph Curry. You realize that you'd shoot 100% from the field?
That'd be nice. I'd actually like that.
You can't go 100% because then
suspicious.
Yeah, you gotta lose
just like the
enough.
roulette thing though too.
Yes.
You gotta lose a little.
Can I Bruce Almighty traffic? Like just like.
I mean, yes, but you might hurt some people that
using
way,
your power for evil.
Yeah, that's not good.
As Bruce Almighty himself learned.
I feel like when Bruce did it though, everyone safely was pushed out of the
Bruce
way.
was God, so he did it in a way that he could change things
benevolently.
He wasn't God. He had God's help. He was not God.
He had God's power.
Morgan Freeman was God.
Yeah,
well,
clearly, obviously.
Well, he made him God for the day, basically. So you know what? Go ahead. It's so easy.
He was renting. Okay.
Okay.
He was not. There was not God ownership there.
No ownership. No.
Morgan Freeman. We can all agree Morgan Freeman gives off more God than Jim Carrey does. And
I don't know. Based on what's happened in the world over the last 10 years, I kind of feel like God's a little bit more Jim Carrey. A little just out of control, smoking. Hey.
My brother for years around here played Would You Rather with us. It's a game that we used to play all the time, but they were more negative things like that. They weren't positive. You weren't having a choice. Chris Cody, a bit allergic to work, just found the flaw in the hypothetical when he said, well, I can go to a casino and try to win this at roulette $17 at a time, or you can just wire $250 million to my account, but I don't need to have the power of ever using my mind, which is pretty much the job he now has.
Zagaki.
Look, Chris, there's things that money can't buy, though, man, and that's that joy. It's like yesterday, we actually upped the ante. I was talking to Tony about this yesterday. I said, what about telepathy, right? Mind control. And I was like, yo, you can walk into any bank and legally have them give you money because, like, hey, I need you to give me this loan for $100 million. And then, like, every time it comes due, like, it's not due yet. And they're like, yeah, you're right, it's not due yet. And you're cool. And
so that's not hurting people?
Well, no, the bank. Who am I hurting at the bank?
You're exactly right.
Come on,
they've been hurting us for years.
But it's an inefficient way to do it, given that instead of just taking the $250 million, now you're asking for a loan and paying the interest on it.
I'm not paying
no, zero interest loan. Come on,
Vegas Act. I'm like conning casinos.
Yeah.
Like I could just have $250 million.
But you know what you can't do if you have mind control? Like with if you have $250 million and no mind control, Tony's got a young baby. Baby cries and is feeling pain and stuff. Mind control. Hey, you're not in pain. And the baby's like, you know what? You're not. Right, I'm not. You can't do that with money. $1 billion, $200 billion couldn't do that. Mind control, baby. It's the best superpower there is.
I got stuck the other day. You mentioned Magic and Copperfield. Can you guys look up for me the magician who is paid the most? Because Copperfield is famous for a salary that's insane. I don't know if he's making more than David Blaine these days. But the real magic of magic is that the other night, because as I often do, I wasn't in the mood for something that was 2 hours or an hour and 30 minutes long, all of a sudden I'm on Netflix and yep, I've watched a full 50-minute magic show.
Wow.
Yes. Is it Jake Wellman? I don't remember what the person's name is, but what he was doing didn't have any explanation that I could tell. And I found myself fascinated, even though I would assume, obviously, that it's not actual magic powers that he has.
Dan, I've got a list for you. Net worth richest magicians in the world. We got 5 and we got 5 OLIs.
Wow.
You ready to do this?
Whoa,
Yes.
I don't know if I am ready to do this. Let me get the fanfare for you. Go ahead.
All right.
Is this dead or alive or active?
This is everyone. All
Everyone,
time. This
okay.
is all time according to Carnival of Illusion.
We've got 2 lists right now that we're going to get together, and I think this one's great, but I think Chris Cody's got a better one. Top 25 NFL players of all time.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to go dueling where you go with your 10 or your OLI, and then Chris, where's your list from, Chris?
CBS Sports, but I'll do top 10 here. Let's do top 10.
Okay, here we go. Number 10, David Blaine, $12 million.
Wait. That's it?
Modest.
Number 10, Dan Marino.
The David Blaine of the NFL. Number 9, the amazing Jonathan, also known as the Freddy Krueger of comedy, $15 million.
That guy has more money than David Blaine?
Yeah.
Number 9, Barry Sanders.
Number 8, Barry Sanders. No. Number 8, Uri Geller, $20 million.
I was more impressed by Barry Sanders' magic than Uri Geller's.
Me too.
Penn and Geller. Number 8, Reggie White.
Minister of Defense.
Number 7, the world's fastest illusionist, Dutch magician Hans Klok, $25 million.
You know what? David Blaine needs a better agent.
Tony just said, he mouthed it, what are we doing? Once you've gone, you can't go, give me a Dutch magician and tell me he's better than David Blaine.
Guys, it's working its way up.
Dude was in ice for like 15 days.
Number 7, Lawrence Taylor.
Number 6, and admittedly this might be cheating a little bit, Neil Patrick Harris, $40 million.
This list stinks.
Carnival Illusion.
Number 6, Peyton Manning.
Chris Cody's list is good, and he's feeling good. Like, he is feeling so good about never using his mind.
Watch this. Number 5, they call him the mind freak, Chris Angel, $50 million.
Number 5, Joe Montana.
He signed a record-breaking contract at the Monte Carlo Resort in Las Vegas back in '94. It's Lance Burton, $100 million.
Lance Berkman was a magician?
The Puma.
Number 4, Walter Payton.
Sweetness.
Number 3, a pair of guys that we talked about a lot on this show about a year ago or so, Siegfried and Roy, $120 million.
I thought he was going to go Penn and Geller there.
Were they Magic or were they just,
Number
Tiger
Number
trainers?
3, Jim Brown.
Number 2, we've made several jokes about them during this list right here. It's Penn and Teller, $300 million for the bad boys of Magic.
Number 2, Jerry Rice.
The GOAT.
Who's going to be the number 1 player in the history of the NFL? I wonder.
Number 1, clocking in at over $1 billion, David Copperfield. Take that $250 million and shove it up your ass.
No way.
That's a lot of money.
$1
to put up
billion
there.
for Magic?
Am I doing it $1 at a time? like
$100.
Well, how much do you normally do, Dan?
Like the slots.
Where's Houdini?
Depends on whether
Broke.
I'm wearing my high heels or not.
Broke boy Houdini.
No way. One of the greatest magicians ever. Broke boy?
Broke boy, man. The forerunners, that's what always happens, man.
I want to get to.
We got number 1.
Number 1,
We know who number 1 is. There's no
Gale
point.
Sayers.
Wow.
It's Tom Brady. I thought Gale Sayers was like a journalist.
What?
And a woman.
Gail King.
Just thought Gale Sayers. Maybe I'm doing Gail King. Like
Yeah, you are doing Gail
No,
King.
you are.
Hold on.
I did Gale Sayers like that. You said that if you would have said that name to me when I walked in today, I would have just been like, who is that? Like CNN? Where's he work?
Put it on the poll. Did you think that Gale Sayers was Oprah's best friend? and also put at Le Batard Show. Have you ever known anyone who thought Gale Sayers was a woman?
I said a journalist. It could have been a man.
It is a very unorthodox name for a man, right? Gale. Do we have any other Gales in history?
Breaking Bad.
Wasn't the Australian player for Seton Hall named Andrew? Was it Gale? No, or is it
Andrew
Andrew
Gaze.
Oh, I thought. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm talking about first name Gale. First name Gale?
Wasn't there a famous ship that got lost at sea that has a gale in it?
The Gale probably made it lost this season.
One of the lead
Win.
characters from The Hunger Games, played by Liam Hemsworth. Yeah, Liam Hemsworth.
So no real people.
Gale.
Cool.
By the way, those Hemsworths, all of them smoldering, and I was not understanding why it is you would get a smoldering Hemsworth and have a Mad Max Fury Road sequel and decide to get one of these smoldering Hemsworths and put a giant prosthetic nose on him. I was just confused. If you're going to get one of these smoldering Hemsworths, just let them be beautiful. Do not put a giant prosthetic nose on a Hemsworth.
2 things. Number 1, it's called acting, Dan. They want to stretch their abilities. Number 2, there is an ugly Hemsworth. It's the one that was in Westworld. He's the one that's like, you're a Hemsworth?
And he's
really?
scrawny.
Yeah, it's like, you're related? You sure? I don't know.
Find me his first name and then make the poll. Is blank Hemsworth the Cooper Manning of the Hemsworths?
What, just Googled the ugly Hemsworth?
Is there an ugly Hemsworth?
Westworld Hemsworth.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Luke.
Is it? Wait a minute.
You Google ugly Hemsworth brother, and Luke is what comes
But
up.
it's not fair. Is he actually? Look, I'm not comfortable calling
Type in
just
ugly
about
Cody brother.
anybody
See what comes
ugly.
up.
This is the deal. He's got a big face, but all of his facial features are bunched into the same area. The eyes, the nose, and mouth are right here, and then the rest of this is just a
Put it
massive
on the poll
expanse.
at LeBatard Show. Is everyone ugly compared to the Hemsworths?
And here's the issue where you're talking about tall brothers, right? Both Hemsworth brothers are two of the three tall, maybe 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
This one, maybe sub-6.
Not good.
5'9".
Yikes.
Come
I got a
on,
good
man.
eye on that, huh?
Come on, man.
Oof.
Ooh, there's a Craig Hemsworth.
There's a fourth Hemsworth.
Who's that?
There's a fourth Hemsworth.
We were just talking about
Look-
siblings.
look at that.
Like,
Look at these two.
But
Now you're telling me
you
this
guys
is
are unfair.
Look at that.
He's not ugly. He's just ugly compared to the Hemsworths, and we all are.
He is a Hemsworth.
I'd
Well,
actually take the
speak
one
for
on the
yourself.
right. I'd go with the one on the right over the left. I mean, the middle is clearly the best.
Roy, I will speak for you as well.
Okay.
Compared to the Hemsworths, you are ugly because everyone who stands next to the Hemsworths is ugly.
What are you talking about, man? He
I'm
looks
not
like
saying anyone's ugly. I'm just saying they're ugly compared to the Hemsworths.
See, to me, there's one that's clearly the best looking, and I don't know their
Sure.
names. The one on the right
It's
now.
Thor.
That's
We
Thor.
call him Thor,
He's
yeah.
clearly the best looking one. The other two, I would put on the same plane.
It's
in
really
terms of
like a
good looking.
Pokemon evolution of each other. Like you start at one, you evolve to that next step, and then you
Devolve.
end up at Chris.
He's right though. It's the chart of evolution where you start with
Yeah.
with a baboon and then you end up at a human being. What a terrible thing to say about the short Hemsworth here,
You
but
said
it
it,
does,
I mean.
it does
Hey,
look
I had
like
nothing to do
Hemsworth.
with it. Not me. No, sir.
Anyway, moving on to other things. We've got pitch clock. For those of you who did not get enough baseball in the 4 hours that we did last night, I've got another clip that I want to play for you guys to celebrate that. But if you haven't been a part of our watch parties, and we're going to be doing more and more of these over the course of the next couple of years, and hopefully we will watch more game than we did last night because yesterday was a contrivance and then we didn't end up actually watching the games. We just ended up talking for 4 hours. But one of the interesting things that happened, and at the end of this hour, for those of you who missed it, we're going to relive Game 1 of the finals of the NBA and the watch party we did with Mero, my dad, and an assortment of others. But one of the highlights from last night was the general awkwardness of what I'm about to describe, which is many years ago, the Marlins, Jeffrey Luria, the owner of the Marlins, had hired Bobby Valentine. And David Sampson did an assortment of things to try and undermine the fact that his owner had hired someone that he and Larry Beinfest did not want as the manager. Bobby Valentine and David Sampson do not like each other, but they did have last postseason some time on a set where they were doing baseball analysis. And so Sampson said, "We're cool now. We're fine. We buried the hatchet." But then Bobby Valentine came on later, and there was some question about whether or not these two people bury hatchets the same way, because it seems like Sampson buried the hatchet, and it seems like Valentine is still swinging it. Not as awkward as it would have been if Bobby Valentine had shown up here and seen David's face. Am I wrong, David?
You are actually, because we finished that entire bit of awkwardness last October when he and I did pre and post game for CBS Sports and as analysts for the World Series. And the way that happened is we each got a call from the higher ups at that network saying, "How would you feel about working with Valentine? And how would you feel about working with Sampson?" And we both said, "Hey, no problem." And so we were in studio together every day, watching every World Series game together and doing all the pre and post. And we talked about what had happened, and everything was fine again.
I was happy to hear that you and David Sampson had buried the hatchet last postseason.
Well, I can't. Is that a fact? I don't. Buried the hatch? Well, I think right at the end, I think we worked together, and right at the end, I might have said something like, I forget what I might have said, but I might have said something like, do you know that I wasn't the one that told Buster Only about me being the manager of the Marlins, and I think he walked to his car, and I walked to my car, and I guess that's the way we buried the hatchet. I guess.
That's not a buried hatchet.
Not even a little bit.
Was he sitting on a recliner or an office chair? I want that to be a recliner.
It seemed like a recliner to me.
I think it's an office chair.
He also had his camera covered by half of a pillow or a T-shirt or something for an overwhelming majority of the time.
That was not a buried hatchet. That is the smile of a man who enjoyed not burying that hatchet with David Sampson. That's the smile of a man not unlike Amin earlier in the show when he was fearing AI that would like to bury that hatchet in Sampson's forehead.
Very white teeth.
The way he looks right here is, you said, do you guys bury the hatchet? You mean this thing right here? Right in Sampson's face.
Can you guys find for me, please, why it is that people would bury hatchets? I was very happy there as you see that that screen. Go ahead, Amin.
I don't know if you want to find out that etymology.
Do you know?
I believe it has something to do with Pilgrims and Native Americans.
Okay. I do want to know, though, America's ugly history. I don't want to hide it from the people. Okay. And if it's hidden in a phrase like buried the hatchet, I would just want the information of that. But on the screen, you may have noticed in one of the boxes, and all of this is available by YouTube if you want to watch any of it from last night. But Jeff Miller was there of the Los Angeles Times. And the reason Jeff Miller was there was only to tell what is, I believe, the most embarrassing story of my professional career.
What'd it get?
It doesn't rank as my biggest professional regret. We'll get to that next week. But as an embarrassment, Jeff Miller told the story of being at Shea Stadium. I was in my early 20s, and we were in the press box, and he was like, "You won't do it." I'm like, "I will do it." He's like, "You won't do that." I'm like, "I will do it." And I was pushing a piece of carrot cake that was stale and starched and terrible toward the edge of the press box window, and there were people down below. And so he's like, "You will not do that. That's too unprofessional." I'm like, "Stop daring me to do it." And I eventually just flicked it over. Damn. Now, I know. I'm
savage. Should start a new Chris Cody of the Day segment.
I'm embarrassed by this. And they brought Jeff Miller on to embarrass me and tell that story. And he did. He's telling it to Bobby Valentine, who I thought was the manager of the Mets at the time. He wasn't. It was Dallas Green. But I'm pushing this carrot cake. That's not the funniest part of the story. That's the embarrassing part of the story. But it gets better because after I push it, he's shocked. I'm looking at him shocked. And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad decision. Then I hear from down below, "Hey! What the blah, 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 blah." But then I hear from above me, "No, bleep you!" Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Because nobody from the press box would throw a carrot cake. So now they're arguing. I'm hiding, and I'm laughing with Jeff Miller because someone's got frosting down below.
You got to look up at that point and be like, "What the heck, guys? Come on. Like, what are we doing here?"
Like, I saw it.
Be civilized.
He blamed the guy in the upper deck?
Yes, well, because it wouldn't have come from the press box. Because there's just no way on earth that Mike Francesa is doing that from the press box.
But there would never just be a plate of pie like in the stand. So it's like you have to do some math here. It's like, but you're right. You would never think a journalist would do that.
You just skip right over, like you put a mental block. Well, it's not this.
So you think you have this frosting in your hair and you're thinking to yourself, I think the media commissary is where that would come from. They're not selling carrot cake at concessions in the upper deck.
Where can I get a nice plate of cake?
So a guy who's yelling, "Hey, bleep off," in the middle of Flushing, New York. Guy, he's got icing on his face. You think he's saying to himself, "Well, that carrot cake couldn't have come from the upper deck. They're clearly there." And maybe going up to the upper deck because he'd like some carrot cake because they're selling it up there and not down below.
What are we doing here?
What type of 8th grade peer pressure did you succumb to?
I was in my early 20s.
Don't dare Dan. He will do it.
Again,
did he double dog dare you?
Not proud of it. I will also say, Shea Stadium carrot cake, early 90s, deserved it.
It deserved to be thrown on someone?
It was terrible. Terrible. You think that I've gone a lot of my life not putting that carrot cake in my mouth?
Yeah. That's the biggest upset here.
Apparently, Amin was right on burying the hatchet.
The phrase is an allusion to the figurative or literal practice of putting away weapons at the cessation of hostiles or hostilities among or by indigenous peoples of the Americas in the eastern United States and Canada.
But is it a physical burying of an actual hatchet?
Yeah, they would bury their weapons at peacetime, and then Well, we know what would happen when it wasn't peacetime.
Yeah.
They'll take them out.
America.
We got
America's
to a
what
peacetime. I'm trying to find
Well,
Three
Amin was
Americas.
right. It does sort
No,
of.
America happened.
Yeah, that's right.
3 America.
Yeah, always is 3 Americas. Latins get left out, Dan, in those 2 America jokes. I don't like that. That's why I would say 3.
Well, there's more than 3.
Well, it's 4 Americas.
If we're gonna do that,
Many more than 4.
Stephon
5.
Whitecastle.
Nice.
Hispanics, I don't know that anyone has noticed this because Hispanics, especially during this time when we're talking so much about immigrants, but Hispanics, generally speaking, very grateful to be in this country. Hispanics, generally speaking, you do not hear a lot of complaints from Hispanic minorities that are public or whimpering, because that doesn't tend to be what is taught in our culture. But the end result of that is that our demo, which is the unicorn in media, go ahead and name all the Hispanic people on, I don't know, Fox or ESPN Sports. Go ahead.
George Sedano.
Friend or coworker?
Everybody on Deportes.
Sedano, yeah.
Go ahead. What's the second one?
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eduardo Perez?
Keep going.
Eduardo Perez. There you go.
Keep going.
Tato Martinez with Turner.
Oh,
Turner.
yeah.
It gets hard.
No, hold on.
And
Dan
there,
Le Batard.
there aren't a lot of women, and it gets difficult to do.
women.
The
Jessica
demo,
Mendoza, she's a
Yes.
great baseball analyst.
the demo does not get represented proportionally in the media.
Is Tony
as-
Collins still active, or did
in
she
the
retire?
country.
I think she's
No.
no, I think she's out.
She's out.
Living her life.
Out of the game, all right.
But you don't hear a lot of complaints about it, at least in part because there aren't a lot of Hispanic media members to make the complaint.
Sarah Spain? Got
No,
Spain in her name.
Not a play on for me. Not a play on.
Jeremy made his way through.
yeah,
Jeremy? Yeah, Jeremy.
yeah, I powered through all the difficulties
Whittingham,
and the plight of my
Whit-
people.
Whittingham?
Whittingham as well, but it is hard to identify sometimes when they look like Jeremy and Chris Whittingham.
Whatever do you mean?
If Chris Whittingham
Or me, for
well,
that
Chris
matter.
Whittingham. That's the funny thing. Chris Whittingham looks the part, but the name is kind of like a shield, right? If his name was anything else, would Chris Whittingham?
Well, my
be
parents did that purposely. My dad wanted to name me Luis or Gonzalo, and then they changed their mind because they didn't think that that would be friendly. And so what ends up happening later in life, I have to go get his cartoon accent so people don't think I'm French.
We like to mock Whitty a lot. His Jim Gray take, aging nicely.
What was the Jim Gray take?
That he's going to have a better career. That he would not take Jim Gray's career.
Over his own?
He said it like years ago.
Dude.
And now he's like, he's going to be calling World Cup games in a few years probably.
I'm telling you, he could call every single World Cup from here until the end of the world.
You wildly disrespect the career of
Jim Gray. Are you kidding?
If he become if Whitty becomes like the top or second soccer guy
Name
soccer,
me all the soccer guys.
you know, there's Phil
Exactly.
Shane, I think.
Phil Shane.
Name me the soccer guys that you have at this level of
Phil Shane
notoriety
and then
that
Whitty.
everybody knows.
Jim Gray put together The Decision in his spare time.
Jim Gray knew Snoop Dogg when he was 12 years old.
I'm not saying he has surpassed him. I'm saying that
He
take
can never
we
surpass
mocked him. It's just like
He'll have Whitty will have a great career.
Quitty.
It's Quitty. He is Quitty, to be honest.
Jim Gray also has a Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Whitty will never have one of those.
And now, top 5 moments from our NBA Finals live stream with Mero. OLI, Stan Van Gundy got a job at Amazon.
Stan now works for Amazon. He's going to go to Amazon.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, Pop.
He's gonna be a
Amazon,
delivery
holla at
guy.
me.
Yeah, he's just delivering things
Packages,
for Amazon.
that's
It's not a great job.
I thought that he was going to be broadcasting from a new division. With Amazon, you never know.
No, hard times, Dad. He's got to deliver packages. So if you need something, if in an emergency, Stan might bring it
Stan,
by
don't
the
knock
house.
on my door. Ring the doorbell, please.
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Leave the package
gotcha.
at the door.
OLI, Poppy reacts to Samson's poor Spanish pronunciations.
Poppy, I want to play some words that David Sampson has tried to say in Spanish. You try and guess what they are. What is this word?
Tetas. Tetas.
Oh, tetas.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If Poppy knows one
They're
thing.
singing my song.
Sure.
He said, I love this song. Are they singing your song?
They're singing my song.
Okay, who's singing your song and what is this song?
Bro, that's the teta.
Teta arriba, coño, teta afuera.
Teta fuera.
Ahí sí, vamos.
What about this word, Poppy? What about this one?
Correcta. Correcta.
Careta. Face mask.
See?
Face mask.
So what I tell you? No, I'm sorry, puppy. That is croqueta.
Oh, croqueta.
Yeah, but no, dije, croqueta.
Correcto.
Croqueta.
Dije croqueta.
Dije croqueta, pero no sé.
Croqueta. You mean Dave Sampson spent about 15 years in downtown Miami.
I know. He
couldn't say croqueta.
It's ridiculous. He got no influence from Latin culture. How about this one, Poppy? What's this word?
A gallivera.
Oh, that's guayabera.
He's on his game today.
A gallivera.
Guayabera.
Dan, I think he's a spark plug with the tetas. All of a sudden, it's a bit of a spark plug.
That goes,
Tetas, bro. Tetas. That was tetas.
Number 5, Sam Morrell says he respects the Pistons more than the Pacers.
Sam says he respects the Pistons more than the Pacers. Come on.
100%.
Come on.
Yeah,
He's not wrong.
Come on.
Wow.
The Pacers are a veteran team. They're deeper, but the Pistons scare me more for the future. I think this is the Pacers' one trip. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Thunder, clapping them, I think, in 6. And, that's that. But I think the Magic and the Pistons are the team next year. Those are the teams that scare me. The Magic are tough, man. They didn't have Jalen Suggs. They play a tough game.
He's right about that. They bother Boston.
Jalen Suggs.
Paolo Banchero.
Come home.
Jalen Suggs need to. Yeah. Come home now. Jalen Suggs.
He'll turn into Derek
come home.
out. Come home. Milk carton. Milk carton, that boy.
Yo, listen, Detroit was the best team the Knicks faced the entire playoff run.
Yeah.
100%. And I
What are you
respect them.
guys talking
I agree with
about?
Sam.
I like it.
Sam's right. Don't boo him. He's right. The Pacers are ass, bro.
When
They're
you
just
look at
very
the
deep.
breakdown of the series, Dan,
There's some
it makes
deep
sense.
ass. They're deep ass.
Super ass.
God hates Knicks fans, and that's why that Halliburton shot fell in.
That's
okay.
100%.
And it's like Angels in the outfield, except it's some fucking demon who's torturing
Jim
us.
Irsay.
Yep.
It's just Jim Irsay.
Rest in peace, by the way.
Fucking Jim Irsay had to die that day.
He did?
They sacrificed his ass for a fucking finals run.
He really did? That's crazy.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
He perished
He
the
did
same
not
day?
die
On that day, yeah.
That was
Right
a
before-
Christopher
right
Lloyd.
before
That was
right
the
before
Just
the
Call Me
playoffs.
Al. It was Irsay.
Yo, that's crazy. He tweeted out. He was like, yo, go Pacers or some bullshit like that.
I hate
And
you
then,
so much.
and then he died right out. That's crazy.
It's crazy. What do you think happened there?
That's wild. Too
I
much
think
Lucas
he
oil.
got sacrificed to the gods of the Midwest. Mike Pence was, praying to these gods, trying to
Had the courage.
not allow gay people to get married for years.
That's it.
The demons answered their prayers, and the Pacers got a finals run, but they will lose in 6 games.
Number 4, Jamel says the Knicks firing Thibs is like leaving your wife for a chick with a fat ass.
Okay, so here's the problem is I feel like the Knicks are going to be susceptible to the relationship 80-20 rule, right? They saw the chick with a fat ass and they had old girl at home who was doing everything she needed to do.
Except playing more than 6 people.
No, but that's okay. It's I feel like they had Not Gonna Cry Mary J. Blige at home.
Yo.
Right? And then they decided, I'm going to leave her for Cousin Faye from Soul Food.
Yeah.
This some black shit, Dan. You don't understand this.
I'm looking
but it's
right
okay.
at you.
It's okay. It's okay.
I like the Halliburton pack right now.
I'm going deep into it. I'm going deep down into it. Right? Messed around. Y'all hit Cousin Faith. And now you think,
yo, this is it.
This is it. And I feel like this is going to end terribly
She's
for the
burying you.
for the next coach.
Listen.
Look, Not Gonna Cry was at home. She helped you build your business.
She did.
And she lit your shit on fire because you're such an asshole.
She did.
She did. And now you're going to mess around with Cousin Faith,
But listen,
who you boned in the studio, and it's going to be bad.
those 2 minutes of Cousin Faith hitting the spots that, you know what I'm saying, Mary wasn't hitting at home.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But at the end
Chris
of the
just
day,
walks in and goes, what are we talking about?
What's going on over here?
Number 3, Poppy makes fun of Jorge Sedano for being a Cubano arrepentido. No, hang on. Cubano arrepentido. Poppy makes fun of Jorge Sedano for being a Cubano arrepentido.
Now they gotta call you George Sedano. What is this now?
You always called me George Sedano.
Oh, no, I always call you Jorge Sedano. Off with the croquetas.
Do you know
It's Jorge
what?
Sedanos and
You know-
croquetas. That's it.
No, but no. Espérate. Do you know why they call me George? Because my dad, my puppy, was Jorge
And my mom needed to know who she was going to yell at, okay?
Bulto y paquete. Tremendo paquete.
Tremendo paquetón.
That's the highest of paquete.
Where
Paquetón.
you bought that one? In Macy's?
You know what, Papi? No.
Get his ass.
Papi, next time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Lunda no more arroz con frijoles with you.
Oh, no.
We're missing the frijoles today.
That's not fair. You cannot take away my
There you
black
go.
beans.
You hit it where it hurts, George.
I know where to go.
Number 2, Tony reacts to the flagrant honk on Caruso's nuts.
This is clearly 2 shots. I just saw that they might be looking at this.
That's got to be a flagrant foul.
No, that's just a hard foul. He
That's
goes
a hard foul.
He goes for his shooting arms.
Brought to you from the guy who said,
That's
take a
just a
look at
hard
that in
foul.
hockey. Give me a break.
That was just a hard foul.
He doesn't.
Yeah, that was
he
a
doesn't
good
give
Gave him a
foul.
little honk there on the bottom there, too. I didn't like that. I don't know that.
What was the honk? What did he
You
do?
tell me.
What do you mean there was a honk?
He got the arms, but then all of a sudden there was a honk. I
did
was like,
see a
oh.
honk.
You saw the honk, right, Drew? Okay, make it
It was a
sure.
honk.
Bit of a honk.
Check the undercarriage. Or you do one of these.
Wait a minute.
They're reviewing the honk. That's what it
That's
is.
what
That
they're
was
doing.
not a honk.
Yeah, honk. They honked him.
Wait a minute. Mero's out here doing some sort of ultrasound on testicular cancer. Like,
That's what he did. But at game speed, you don't see him go like that.
That's the thing. It's too fast.
See? You see?
oh, look at me,
Javi.
referee Steve Javi.
Bang, bang, play.
Oh, I think that he flopped.
He tried to Steve Javis.
Flop on the honk. Wow.
I think he
Here you
flopped.
go, Dan. Here you go. So he hits him in the shoulders. Here you go. Boom. All right, we're coming around now. Boom! There's definitely a
That's a
honk.
flop.
That's a
That's a
flagrant
flop.
one on
That's
the
a
honk.
flop.
Bobby,
That's
that's
a flop.
That's not a
That's
flop.
That's a flop. That's a flop.
Oh, come on, say. Yo, he grabbed his croquette.
That was a quick whistle.
Bobby, that doesn't make any sense as analysis. That's a flop.
That's a flop.
No, that's not.
That's crazy.
Dad, what?
Yo.
Wait a second. He honked?
He honked.
He honked?
They're reviewing the honk. Flagrant one.
Bro.
Honk.
He gave him a prostate exam real quick.
It's a fix.
That's wild.
Oh, it's a fix.
Wait a minute. My father's
Get
now
a hold of that ref.
All right, we're gonna have to, Bobby. You're gonna have to leave. I'm sorry, you're out of control. It's late night. I'm gonna have to get you out of here.
No.
I
Look at
got
Caruso. Look what they.
I'm telling you.
It's a fix, Bobby.
Yeah, that referee, you got to check his credentials out.
Here he is.
That guy. I don't trust him at all. Looks like he's on the take.
Upon review, we do not have wind up.
We do have a honk.
We do have contact.
Not a flagrant
We
foul.
do not have a honk. Therefore,
It was a clear
we
as day
do not
honk.
meet the criteria. He said no honk. I read it. I'm telling you.
We got an obvious and clear flagrant honk.
Number 1, Tony, Mero, and Poppy sing, oh God, hang on, Te suelto el pelo? Is that right? Te suelto el pelo?
All right, this one's a little bit more sensual. We're staying in the Yandel topic, but te suelto el pelo.
Oh,
Te suelto el pelo, te quito la camisa, tu pantalón, y después
te come completa.
Poppy, you want to translate that?
Oh, you caught me off guard here.
You want to try again?
Papi,
You guys-
I'll say it slow.
All right, Poppy, we're
Te
gonna
suelto
do-
el pelo.
I let your hair loose.
Te quito la camisa.
I let go of your hair.
It's playing refrain.
I take your shirt off.
Poppy.
Tu pantalón.
Well, no.
Papi, come on.
Wait a second. Wait.
Y después
Te come
Your mother
completa.
is next door. She's going to kill me.
you said tetas.
Tetas, yes. Well,
Poppy, you said tetas. They're singing my song. That's what you said. And now he says. And now
but
she,
this is getting more right to the point.
No,
you know?
This is more intimate. This is more
This is a
intimate.
lot more intimate.
more graphic. Pants. You take. Let's start again.
Te suelto el pelo.
I will let your hair loose.
I pull your hair.
Oh!
I let go of your hair.
Te quito la camisa,
I'll take off your shirt.
tu pantalón.
Oh, no. Wait.
But that's where we get jammed up right there. You get jammed up right there.
Tetas is cool. Taking your pants
I
off is
don't
not.
understand why you're stopping there. Just translate for the English audience. Let's start again.
Te suelto el pelo.
I will let your hair loose.
Te quito la camisa.
I will take off your shirt, dog.
Tu pantalón.
Oh, you're also your panties. Y después te dejo la completa.
Not your panties, just your pants. Not your panties.
It's a 2-for-1 there, Dano. Come on, it's a 2-for-1.
Pantalón, okay.
They were not your panties, Dad. They were
slacks.
They were slacks. No, take off your slacks.
I'll take off his slacks. There's definitely reggaeton. Yo, every girl I picked up at Latin night reggaeton party was
Yeah.
They were wearing slacks.
Was bumping, dude.
Yandel was bumping, and they was all wearing slacks.
Wilson, both of them.
Well, yeah. For Rakata, yeah, for sure.
Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch. A 2-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock.
Taylor's triumphant return to the Pitch Clock.
Horrible.
Taylor, hey man, it's good to see you here. I'm glad you're back. It's not because we don't like Ethan, but it's because we love you. Anyway, we're excited. We'll have
fake Cubs fan.
Not a Cubs fan. Just appreciate Wrigley Field.
But we'll have Jack McMullen with us as our 2025 MLB expert.
Did you just call Jackie McMullen Jack McMullen?
No, Jack McMullen is actually the radio.
You gotta get Jackie McMullen.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that Jack McMullen.
Is that his? Is that
it's his name?
Is it her son?
No.
Oh, it should be.
But he's the radio play-by-play announcer for the Miami Marlins and also hosts the Just Baseball podcast.
Wow.
And he'll be with us soon to talk about baseball right now. But that's not what's important at the moment. What's important is that Taylor is back and he has Taylor trivia.
Can you
and my mind has been blown over the idea that his name is Jackie McMullen.
Can you ask him about Jackie McMullen?
I'm going to start calling him Jackie. That's all I know for sure. Taylor, what is our trivia game for today?
We're dialing the trivia back a little this week.
Thank God.
Last week I went back and watched. It felt like 103 on the black.
It was nuts.
Right now, we're gonna turn it down to maybe a 94 mile per hour fastball. But you're gonna get three of the top 5 starters that a team had in 2005. You have to tell me whose rotation it is.
Okay. All right. That sounds more reasonable than the previous.
I like this. If you give me multiple names, I can tell you what team they're on.
I think that means Chris is going first because I think I went first last time.
I'm on a 3-week skid. I've been terrible the last 3 weeks of trivia.
Well, let's see how this goes then.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris Cody first. Ryan Franklin, Joel Pinheiro, Aaron Seeley.
What year is this?
2005.
That is the Seattle Mariners.
It is the Seattle Mariners.
Wow, nice call. That's well done.
Joel Pinheiro. That's the only one I had.
Yeah.
Snapping a 2-week streak of Chris not getting an answer right.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't get one right?
I know you didn't last week. I didn't realize the week before, too. Jeez.
I'm back.
Oh, man. Now I'm afraid to lose.
Jeff Weaver, DJ Holton, Odalis Perez.
That's tough. I'm gonna. Chris knows the answer, doesn't he? I'm in 2005. So here's what I'm gonna tell you. Where I think Jeff Weaver is, I know there are at least 2 other starting pitchers who pitch for that team, and so in turn, this would mean I know the full rotation. But I don't know for sure, and I think I might be relating it to something else. So I'm going to go ahead and say somehow, and I don't know that Weaver played here, that this is the Milwaukee Brewers.
It is not the Brewers. Chris, chance to steal.
That's not right.
Stupid. I'm just going to guess the Angels.
It's funny.
Right city, wrong team. It's the Dodgers.
It was the Dodgers. So what's funny about where
Dallas Perez was a Dodger.
Where you just went was where I went at first, which is Jeff Weaver being on the Angels. But really, that's Jared Weaver.
Bronson Arroyo, Matt Clement, David Wells.
I'll go with the Yankees.
It is not the Yankees. Chance to steal, Jeremy.
I know this one. I want everyone to know that I know it. You look away.
No, but there's no way. All right, I'll look away.
You look away. I want. No? Okay. I feel better about that.
Jeremy, chance to steal.
We should leave that in.
I want that left in. I don't know, obviously, what was said. I know that Bronson Arroyo pitched for the Red Sox around that time.
Also, take a word away from there.
But right. So that's the other team that I'm thinking of with Bronson Arroyo, which is the Reds. But I don't remember David. I certainly don't think David Wells pitched for the Red Sox.
I can't picture
There's
being
no
a red.
way. But I don't think
you picture him as a red.
More than a Red Sox. I'm going Cincinnati Reds.
It's right. That's definitely right. Matt Clement definitely played for the Reds. God damn it! When was David Wells a red?
It's not right.
It is not the Reds. It is the Red Sox.
No!
Matt Clement's only All-Star team was with the Red Sox in 05.
No,
I need to see David Wells in a Red Sox
in a
jersey.
Red Sox uniform?
Wow. Oh yeah. It does kind of ring a bell.
God.
Well, I'm glad because I was gonna go Reds.
That
makes me
sucks. And now he's here, not Jackie, but Jack McMullen, who is the host of the Just Baseball Show, and I don't want to say new anymore because he's been doing it for 60 games or so now, but the radio voice in his first season with the Miami Marlins. It's been my pleasure to get to know Jack over the last several months. I know he and Ethan Badowski, who you heard his voice last week on the show and throughout this episode, are good buddies working at Just Baseball. Jack, it is a pleasure to have you here, man. Welcome to Miami and welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Listen, as somebody that works on Miami Marlins telecasts like yourself, you should know that we're about 75 games into the season, not 60-something. We're past the 70 mark. And our radio intro, so the opening billboard to the game keeps on saying new voice of the Marlins, and everybody's giving me crap for that. It's you're not new anymore.
Not new.
We're 3 months into this thing.
Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. Leading Major League Baseball in home runs. At the time of this recording, he's at 32. And it has been a spectacular season. The pace that he's keeping at the plate is akin to Barry Bonds in terms of home runs. But Aaron Judge is also playing the best baseball of his career. So is there a world, Jack, where when you look at these two guys, that Cal Raleigh can steal that AL MVP when we're a few months from now from Aaron Judge?
LeBron James should have won way more MVPs than he actually did. I think we are nearing a LeBron effect with Aaron Judge. I don't think we'll ever get there with Shohei Ohtani as long as he's doing both. I think Ohtani, it's his award to lose in whatever league he's in. But with Judge, you can only be far and away the best for so long. And then at some point, it's like, oh, Judge is doing his thing, right? With Raleigh, it really does feel like he could be gifted an MVP because of the LeBron effect. And I'm kind of the camp that Raleigh should be in position to do that. He has more homers by the All-Star break than any other catcher in Major League history. He passed Johnny Bench, and anytime you pass Johnny Bench, I'm in on you being the most valuable player in a league. He is, I saw this note from Mariners PR this morning, which is just unbelievable. This guy to this point, you said 32 homers, and his RBI total gets him to 100 homers and RBIs combined at this point through 77 games. This is the quickest that a switch hitter has gotten to 100 combined homers and RBIs since Mickey Mantle did it.
Good
so anytime
Lord, that's a good one.
You're passing Mickey Mantle and Johnny Bench, I feel really good about you.
Jeremy, your names: Jose Contreras, Orlando Hernandez, Freddie Garcia.
Chicago White Sox.
It is the White Sox. World Series champs, White Sox.
Yeah. That's
At least that wasn't an easy one.
Chris Cody, Andy Pettit, Roger Clemens, Wandy Rodriguez.
I dropped Wandy Rodriguez a few weeks ago when we were playing a game. Remember
you
we
did.
We had the initials. It was like WR.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
fun.
dropped
Good
the
times.
Wandy.
It was the Houston Astros.
It is the Astros.
Huh.
Almost like you
Almost
shouldn't be
World Series
complaining that
champion.
they're so easy.
Yeah. Well, I think you went down and got me the second easiest one because you're
Nope.
like, I feel bad after that World Series one, so
You
I'm going to give
jerk.
Chris the easiest one left.
We're building into it. We're building into it.
2-1.
Jeremy, your name here to finish the third round: Dan Herron, Joe Blanton, Kirk Sarlos.
That's the Oakland Athletics.
It is the Oakland A's.
Yeah, come on, man.
Wait, who was the second one?
Dan Herron,
Yeah.
Joe Blanton.
Joe Blanton. wasn't
Joe
he-
Blanton started his career
with
as
a
an
Philly.
A
Wasn't he a
before going
Phillies?
to the Phillies, I think.
That's why I thought it was
Tied at 2.
Look at us. How about that?
Who'd have thunk it?
Chris, Doug Davis, Chris Capuano, Victor Santos.
Brewers.
It is the Brewers. A quick Brewer get from
Come on,
Chris
Chris
Cody.
Capuano. You know what Chris Capuano is. I mean, come on.
Jeremy, Chris Benson, Victor Zambrano, Kaz Eshihi.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know this at all. You know this?
Hell yeah, I know it.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Not the Rays. Chris Cody, chance to steal.
The hat I always wear that I don't root for.
So the Pirates.
Pirates.
Shocking, he misses it.
What? Chris Benson was a pirate.
Yes.
Chris Benson was mostly a Pirate.
The two names that you missed in the rotation that they didn't have, Tom Glavine, Pedro Martinez, it's the Mets.
It's the Mets.
Chris Benson was a Met after, or maybe before. Damn it.
Chris Cody, Esteban Loaiza, John Patterson, Tony Armas.
I've done this before where I just pick one out of like 30 teams and I get it right. Esteban Loaiza, National, or whatever, Expos.
Nationals, it's
You
right.
kidding me? That's ridiculous.
I was just like, where have I thought of it? Like, I was just like, I knew Esteban Loaiza played on them at one point.
In the first year of the expansion nationals. It's going to be really interesting to see how it evolves and also the type of player, because it does feel like there is starting to be a bit of a shift in Major League Baseball away from certain characteristics being valuable in the way that they once were. And I do think you're right. There seems to be a lot more value placed on how quickly can we get this guy to the bigs, and whether that's a college player or a high school player that you might feel is more polished and quicker to where you want them to be.
Teams can start drafting based on need. That has never been a problem in the MLB draft. It's always been something you do in the NBA draft and the NFL draft. We need an offensive lineman, let's draft an offensive lineman. In the MLB draft, it has forever been, let's take the best guy and see what he can do. Yes. And if he's good, we can turn him into a trade asset if need be. Dansby Swanson was the #1 overall pick, and he was traded 6 months later for Shelby freaking Miller because he was an asset. He wasn't a need for a team, but Pittsburgh needed a frontline guy. They drafted Paul Skeens. Guess what they have now? I do think that you can start drafting based on need if you go the college route at the top of the draft.
All of those guys are hoping to become stars, and there's a couple of stars who have been having spectacular seasons, but particularly the last few weeks. One who just recently returned in Ronald Acuna Jr., who is, if I have these stats correctly, hitting 750 with a 3 million OPS since returning. I think that's what it is with Acuna, and he just stopped here in Miami. There's also Christian Yelich, former Marlin, who has been really spectacular over the last couple of weeks as well. These NL outfielders, which one do you want to focus on here as we wrap up the expert portion of the pitch clock?
Let's do Acuna, because if I'm not mistaken, the OPS is actually 3,040,000. So Ronald Acuna Jr., I mean, this guy is, 2 years removed from a 40-70 season. He was clearly hurt last year. Something was off timing-wise before he tore his ACL. Now he's back. I was watching Acuna take batting practice, and he was hitting tanks in early March. And I was like, when's this cat back? And they said, we have no idea. It looked like he was fine to come back then. They took their sweet time with him. He built up. And now he's tracking in a way that we haven't seen a guy track in a really long time.
The top-end excellence amongst the greatest players in Major League Baseball right now is so spectacular because it is more difficult to hit a baseball than it's ever been, with all of the different relievers, with the way that they're tapping into spin rate, with what these pitches look like inside and outside of the zone. And yet, the best of the best in the league are having seasons that are incomparable to anyone else in Major League Baseball history, a history that's nearly 150 years old. It's a damn good time to be watching or listening to baseball, and you can listen to Marlins baseball with Jack McMullen. Every single game, they've played more than 70. I found out.
Yes, they have.
You know, I knew that. I knew it.
That's an unbelievable plug. Thank you, Jeremy.
You're very welcome.
Jeremy, Chingman Wong, Carl Pavano, Kevin Brown.
So easy.
That's the Yankees.
It is the Yankees, even though you said it like a question.
No,
it is the Yankees.
It's the Yankees.
Carlos Silva, Kyle Loesch, Joe Mays.
Twins.
It is the Twins.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
He's staying hot, 5'3". Jeremy, chance to pull one back here. Mike Marith, Jason Johnson, Nate Robertson.
That's the Detroit Tigers.
We have 4 more teams.
All right.
Chris Cody is up 5-4. Chris, your rotation here: Gustavo Chacin, Josh Towers, Ted Lilly.
Blue Jays.
It is the Blue Jays.
I can't believe how wrong I was about all the details on this. What's the score?
It's 6-4.
Oh shit!
6-4, Chris. Three teams left.
Okay.
So if you miss this and Chris steals it, it is mathematically over.
All right, good. So the MLB draft coming up, we had Kylie McDaniel on the show a couple of weeks ago who sort of set the stage a little bit for what might be going on here, Jack. But I know you have a huge amount of focus on both the College World Series, which, by the way, if you guys didn't pay attention, holy cow, Cade Anderson. Yeah. A complete game. I mean, this is redundant in saying complete game shutout, but a 9-inning complete game shutout, 130 pitches. I believe 10 strikeouts in that performance. I mean, he was sensational for LSU. He's one of the top draft picks available in this upcoming MLB draft. Jack, when you're looking at the draft coming up, what are some of the storylines or players that you're focused on?
So, quick thing on Anderson. As a former sort of kind of bad high school baseball player, I can appreciate throwing 130 pitches to try and win a baseball game. As a possible number 1 overall pick that could be in line for a $10 million payday, I really don't understand throwing 130 pitches.
Like, it's so nuts, but I also I have an infinite even more amount of respect for him than I did going into that start, and I already had a lot.
It's a gamer. I mean, I saw a kid is playing pro ball in Germany, and he's skipping his championship series to attend the NBA draft ceremony. Like that's bizarre to me. So that and Cade Anderson, those couldn't be more different situations. Right. But Anderson, don't close your eyes because you need your eyes to see this. I watched his 2 starts in Omaha, and all I could see was Max Fried. The delivery is so Fried, and the curveball is such a young Max Fried. I love the way he operates, but frankly, I think there's a better left-handed pitcher in college baseball. Florida State's Jamie Arnold is a freak, and Arnold was the favorite to be the number 1 overall pick maybe a month or 2 into the college season. This kid, it's close to Chris Sale from an arm slot perspective and an arsenal perspective, so I just comp the 2 top college lefties in America to Max Fried and Chris Sale. I think we're in a really good spot.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us, and now let's get back to this game between Chris and I, which, we all know how it's going to go.
Mark Hendrickson, Casey Fossum, Hideo Nomo.
That the Dodgers?
No. It is not the Dodgers.
Okay, got it.
Rockies.
Chris Cody,
Rockies.
steal and the win.
Rockies.
It is not the Rockies.
Oh, thank God.
Where did Casey Fossum? Who was it?
Thank God.
It was the Devil Race.
I wanted to keep it interesting.
Oh, all right.
I missed that on purpose to keep it interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
Again, Chris with another chance to walk it off. If he gets this right, it is over. Jeremy needs both points remaining to force a tie. I don't have a tiebreaker, so we'll have to come up with one on the spot.
I got you.
Jamie Wright, Byung-Young Kim, Joe Kennedy.
I'm going to go Rockies again.
Chris Cody walks it off. It is the Rockies.
I knew it! Byung-Young Kim! I thought I said that.
Man, he rocked it off.
Oh my God.
That was really impressive.
Because that's all I could think of. I know Byung-Young Kim besides the Dodgers. I was like, who else did I won?
Yeah.
I won.
Oh, it was brutal.
Okay.